look very pink today. Wow.
Hey,
Not
Matt
how
the
I
Pauper
actually
here
am.
again with MTG Gaming Bob. Just having some cardboard conversations tonight. A lot of interesting stuff. It's new Capenna pre-release weekend. Bob, you been getting out there cracking packs at the LGS?
No.
Yeah, no, me neither. Yep, I can't say as though I've actually been to many pre-release events, and this is another one I've decided to skip. Yeah, me neither. Oh, I was having some echo there. Had a tab open.
Okay, I was like,
Soundboard. Other Pat says he's skipping it too. Yeah. It seems like a consensus between all three of us that it doesn't quite pull us in the way it used to. The entire environment's changed a lot, and now Wizards of the Coast seems to be pushing a lot of variants in their products, kind of pulling away from the draft itself, something we might cover a bit later on. But first up, it seems as though the hit cards out of New Capenna, as usual, seem to be falling in price. Pretty standard kind of thing. It's always smart to wait that good 30, 90 days at least, and then you can kind of get a stabilization in the market. Bob, is there anything that you've been keeping an eye on, hoping to get out of this set?
It's too soon. No, I'm more just kind of keeping loosely an eye on it, and not even really intently. As I stated long ago, this is. I was looking forward to this one for the art. I'm very lukewarm about the art. It doesn't, like, I don't know what more they could have done, but it didn't just like jump out like the Ikoria, art was just, that was so impactful. And I'm sorry, like the gilded foils, okay, they look nice. However, when we talk about pricing, there's just too many of them. They are in the set boxes,
Yep.
and they're in the collector boxes, and there was like at least 3 or 4 in every collector box. It's like,
yeah, that's what I'm seeing as well.
oof. So I even saw a bunch of like full arts in the full art like rares and mythics in the set boxes, which is a little kind of disturbing. Like if you look at like Modern Horizons 2, there was you get like one full art maybe in a box. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like your full art variant of that you were going to get. And now they're just, I don't know who's hitting the juicer button. Like, okay, we'll make the different frames and whatnot, try to make it more valuable, but you're overprinting the shit out of it.
Yeah, it does seem as though they're kind of evening the distribution. And I guess that's not really something I want. If you're spending the extra money to kind of upgrade and buy the higher quality product, that should be a bit more of the reserved area for those. Less commons, more of the juice. And to take some of those really good hit cards and put them in other areas, especially with like the foil treatment in these gilded foils. I was really hoping that would be a very specific
Rare.
kind of area. Yeah, exactly. Something that's really hard to get. Kind of disappointing to see how often you can get those. But I guess that does make it a bit easier. Secondary market, the price on those cards won't be terribly inflated.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? It's a double-edged sword, and they have to start dancing a fine line with it. When you oversaturate it, like, let me, I'm going to give you the card that you would probably really hate to see on a Commander battlefield, but as far as price, you'd laugh, and that's Itali. Right? If Itali was super rare printed, because tell me that thing's not. You familiar with
It's
what
pretty
Itali
big,
does?
beefy. Yeah.
Yeah. If that thing swings out, especially in red, because red has trouble giving haste.
Yeah, you're getting action.
Like that thing is. It doesn't even have to hit; just swing.
Yeah,
And
just
it's
a
like,
lot of
oh,
value
Itali,
just on the turn in. Yeah.
So, but now let's think about Itali in terms of financial value.
Yeah, thing's practically
It's
worthless. Yeah.
It's like confetti. It's everywhere. Yeah. That's like Frank's hot sauce. They put that shit in everything.
Yeah.
And they're doing it to Scute Swarm. All these really good cards, because Scute Swarm, again, is a beast of a card. Really, truly, honestly is. I think probably, in my opinion, one of the 2 real standouts from Zendikar Rising was Scute Swarm.
Oh, yeah.
The other one, a lot of people don't talk about it, is the one that gives a +1, the Luminarch.
Oh,
Luminarch
Luminarch
aspirin.
aspirin. Yeah.
Like that thing is like if it stays on the table, it's just like you're done. Like if you don't get that thing dead quickly, it's like uh-oh, it gets out of control quick. But they're printing Scute Swarm into oblivion and Veto and Nyx Nyx Lotus. You know,
Yep.
those they did it to Beast Whisperer. That's a beast of a card. I mean, no pun
Oh,
intended.
phenomenal card. And now
But
that
now
they're
we're gonna see this.
everything, yeah.
We're gonna see that same approach here. Like, tell me how much you think those Stranger Things secret layers are gonna just implode. Like that
You
thing
know,
is just
honestly,
gonna.
I doubt that the market on the sealed product of the secret layer Stranger Things is really going to bottom too much. I could see
Oh,
some negative movement, but I
I
don't think we'll
disagree.
ever see those products be market valued less than their original MSRP.
Oh, I do. I absolutely do. I think you're
Yeah.
gonna have so many. Yeah, so many of the. First off, I think it was kind of a mistake. They appealed, as is often the case. You know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Most people could give two Fs about the fact that there was a unique card printed in Secret Lair, right? Because it's really, truly,
Yeah.
it's out there. If you wanted them, you can get them at a reasonable price. We're not talking dual lands here. You know, it's or moxes or some of that kind of stuff. So to say that you're concerned that you had to buy it from a Secret Lair, who cares? Just because the window was smaller. Same
Right.
thing with many other products. You know, okay, they cut the print runs off, or from the vaults, or you just weren't born, or whatever. But most people really didn't give two flying flips that there was a Stranger Things out there because those cards were kind of sucky, to be honest.
And I
And
think the
now
whole
you're going to
Friends
just
Forever mechanic
you're
was
going to put
honestly,
you're going to put a
yeah.
full set of them in every set box. It's like, oh, good lord! You need
Yeah,
to take that value of the Secret Lair and just. I'm sorry, it's going to bottom that out. I didn't buy any of it.
Yeah.
I hope they
I
don't
don't
do
think
it to The Walking Dead because I did buy like 4 boxes of that.
Yeah.
So I hope they don't do that with Walking Dead. They might.
I think that's the next one up, isn't it?
I don't know, and they're probably going to do it with Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And they'll just take a thing. So what that'll make me do, in all honesty, if we see it this often, we knew that they were going to reprint it. We didn't know how much they were going to reprint it and how plentiful it was going to be. Now we do. The answer is a lot. I mean,
I was
it's
definitely
going to be
surprised at the
saturated.
frequency that we're seeing these inserted into the list spot out of the set boosters here, and they're really consistently common. And that's the thing, is they don't feel special by any stretch, and
Bless you. Get it?
there it is.
You edit it out in post.
There we go. Yeah, right. We'll edit that one later. Thank you. Our hard crack team of editors and post-production staff here at the Cardboard Conversations program. We're up to a huge 1 person, and specifically huge. I've been getting into the chips lately, so huge and getting bigger.
Oh, I thought you meant Hugh GE. Huge.
Yeah.
Anyways, beyond that, you know, they cut the list down to 68 cards, and it's all rares and mythics, but they didn't cut the frequency with which list cards are in the box. I had screamed that, you know, how many times you open that 15-cent list card, and that's all you got out of all freaking 6 to 8 of them that you got out of an entire box. I'll tell you what, almost every box I've had, like my biggest list hit is, besides the one I opened on stream for somebody else, in the charity auction, which was a Renin 6. For me personally, the biggest one I've gotten is a $9 Vesuva. That's the biggest list card I've hit out of over 200 packs. So,
and I think I just saw Joey get like a tutor, didn't he? Get like a vampiric tutor or something out of one of his list spots.
And he got a Macias. And what I'm saying is that I agree that they needed to pull the jank out of the list slot because those just feel bad. But what they didn't adjust was the frequency with which now you get a hit. I think you should have kept that same rarity, you know, of getting a good list card. They should have kept that same frequency, right? And that you only get maybe 1 or 2 list cards in a box.
And it's what, 1 out of 4 packs? So you're getting.
It looked like more like 1 out of 2 or 3. It was like, geez Louise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. So, and now think of how that's going to affect if people wanted to try to come up with a draft format for set boosters. Yeah, forget it. If somebody
Yeah.
said if you called me up and say, "Hey Bob, you want to come on over and we'll draft a set booster," and I just say,
Oh, screw that. No, if we're chilling, if I'm flying out, we're doing like a collector booster box and we're gonna end up trying to draft that shit. Yeah. We'll do
No.
something spicy.
No. But like I said, sorry, I had to scratch my foot there. You know, they've gotten rid of the jank and the feel bads. Looks like they're, you know, pretty juice in the list slot now. The problem is there's just so many of them that the value is going to absolutely plummet on those list cards. So now you're really going to hurt. Actually, I think it'll even have an impact on the price of Commander Legends boxes. You know, if you're going to make Vampiric Tutor that common, that's one of the big hits out of Commander Legends.
Yeah.
You're going to make that a $20 card, maybe a $10, $15 card, right?
It's tough though. When I look on the site I use for checking prices in MTG stuff, I use MTG stocks quite frequently. And one of the great things about that site is you're able to kind of scroll down and look at the value in different printings of the card. And it's very surprising that even reprints of a card, a lot of those older versions of it still hold a solid value. It definitely brings it down, you know, percentage wise, notable. But I've come to see a solid trend where the older printing of the card still holds a good price on it.
I'll just say this. I think this is an unintended consequence of what they're doing with the list. I'm glad that they're tweaking it, and I hope that they continue and actually get it right. But in my opinion, and Joey Moss opened a couple of set booster boxes, and he was even talking about, geez, with the frequency of these list hits, however you want to call that, you know, valuable cards on the list slot that they're going to tank.
Yeah.
You know, and I 100% agree. I don't like the jank list cards. I don't think anybody does. Get rid of them. They're worse than tokens. For people with OCD like me that keep every damn card, it's like, I don't know what to do with these. I don't want to play with them. I don't have a place in my collection for them. I don't want to put them with the original printings. I don't know what to do with this. It's garbage. They are literally like sitting up on a shelf because I don't know what to do. I might turn them into confetti. At any rate, I've
actually been making a little sack of Everquill Phoenixes, and it's same kind of deal. You know, if you've got a whole bunch of crap cards and you've got nothing to do with them, I guess, you know, the little bit of fun of destroying them is something. You know, have a nice little fire in the backyard to just, you know, bulk.
I just see there's so many chemicals on it. I think you're hurting the environment by doing that. So, at any rate, like I said, I think that they adjusted, and I'm happy that the list feels good now, except for I would really hate getting the Stranger Things cards. I don't want them. And you're going to get a lot of them. So the value is just going to go poof.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a very odd decision in my book. They've got to be aware that overprinting things hurts the value, and that hurts ultimately purchasing power, because the players are going to buy whatever the players are going to buy. Right? Players that want to play with it, they're going to buy it almost regardless. So the people that you're cutting out are sort of the collectors and investors. If you just money machine go burr. Yeah. Look how well TSR did, you know, probably unintended, but still cruising right along, holding value. That's the way to do it. You know, hey, whoops, we're going to do a small printing of this, and maybe even a standard set. Have people complain, create the buzz, get in your boxes, you know, in your pre-orders. That's the way that I would do it, because just watering it down, I think it creates unease in the market.
No, and I think that's a very good point, that we've seen a consistent, and it's not that it's been very public either. You know, we've spoken about it in not, you know, exact terms, but the more rare they make something, the harder it is for it to be bought, specifically in Magic. The more that people want it, the higher the price that they're able to charge for it. We were talking on the roundtable the other day, and some of the inventions are still, almost $1,000, which is crazy that, a Soul Ring in a certain treatment is $890, and shit, a Soul Ring's not even $2.
I think that's the healthy way to do it. I think that's the
Yeah.
models they need to start looking at.
Absolutely.
How do we do it then? What was successful? That's
Yeah.
that's the what they call the continuous improvement process for those that love QA stuff out there. You experiment, you reject the things that suck, and you build upon the things that are successful. I think that Flesh and Blood could have learned from that with the number of boxes they printed. I think that they definitely shouldn't have just jumped right out there. It's kind of like putting your toe in the water, and it's like, oh, that doesn't feel so bad. So you jump in over your head. Right, it's like, whoa, hey, easy, pump the brakes. How about we wade into it and go, oop, day, that's probably not so great once you get up to your knees. At any rate, so Flesh and Blood kind of suffered from, obviously. I mean, it's if you watch Flesh and Blood, and here on Cardboard Conversations, we are going to talk about Flesh and Blood. Go ahead and say nasty and mean things to me. It's not really Pat's fault.
Enjoyable, so y'all can go suck an egg. Punch a rock, kick some sand. If you don't like it, don't watch it. That's good. That's fine. If anything, you should crap on me down in the comment section below. If you don't like hearing about Flesh and Blood, do it. Poop on us. Be mean to me down in the comment section.
That should be the title of this. If you don't like Flesh and Blood, poop on us.
Poop on me. Yeah.
At any rate. I think it rings true here with like what they're doing with Streets of New Capenna to, kind of bring this back home, that from what I'm seeing so far, and it's just pre-release weekend, and I'm only really seeing, like, I'll say this, the excitement is not around the collector boxes, and it should be. Like, the buzz is clearly around the set boxes, and it should not be. No. I've spoken a lot about set boxes, and we can get into that on another stream about why I hate set boxes and why I think they're bad for Magic, at least for the health of the game. They're great for investors and people that want to crack them, like YouTube streamers and I guess investors and maybe collectors. But most people don't play a whole ton of sealed, right? And the people that play sealed, in all honesty, you're not getting most of your game pieces from cracking packs. You're going to do just like Nikachu and buy that shit.
Yeah.
So you're going to buy what you need. It's just cost effective to do it that way.
I was just on TCG Player, and my cart was, I think, 36 items. And it's like, and that's the thing, is specifically being not just a player, but a collector as well. If I want to get 17 revised swamps, I can't go to my friggin' LGS and make that happen. You can't find revised cards in a box anywhere. You have to go and specifically buy them. So a lot of times, if you're indulging in the collecting portion of it, the gathering of Magic the Gathering cards, then you've got to go ahead and make sure that you're going through these different outlets. And it is absolutely ridiculous. I think the professor made a phenomenal video about the little voice inside his head. And he was at an LGS and he's trying to buy some fetch lands. He's like, the voice in his head says, just buy a box, get a whole box of Modern Horizons 2. You can get a bunch of fetch lands and then sell the rest. And then he only gets 2. It's like, that's how that shit works.
That's what I got in my set box, by the way.
You guys put out a video with Matt looking through for Commander Legends cards, and
that don't exist in the box he was opening. But no, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of buzz around this, and I don't want to drift off topic here. I don't know if this is more of a wrap it up kind of thought, but for me, this is the time right now. We've talked about this before, and this is what it looks like if you are being disciplined. This is the lull. This is the lull between things you want to get.
Yep.
The other lulls that you experience are because you have to wait for the product to be released. If you have discipline and you want the super juicy foil monkeys and things, you got to save your money for it, right? We've talked about this, picking and choosing your products a la carte rather than grabbing everything that comes out. And no offense, but Streets of New Capenna is that everything that just comes out.
Well, yeah, and it definitely feels like a heavy buy the singles type of product. it doesn't have all the splash and the juice from, you know, something like an Ikoria series type product, you know, where you have the great showcases. I've preached enough about that, but it's got some singles I want to get out of it. I want to make sure I get these new triomes. There's a few things here and there, that Gyata's sword, that'll be pretty cool. But at the same time, I'm not going to try and crack a whole bunch of packs, you know, do my action that way. It's fun to, don't get me wrong. If I get it at the right price, I'll probably put some on the channel, but that's kind of just the content portion of it. You know, it's,
yeah, I mean, I said before, I mean, and I would be, you know, very wishy-washy, flippy-floppy here if I said anything disingenuous, like, hey, yeah, I'm out there cracking new Capenna, and because I've said it on multiple streams, it's not a don't buy, it's a don't buy for me, right? And I'm going to target singles. I have a Magic the Gathering budget too, and I am hoping to see more out of double masters, you know, 22 flippy masters, whatever you want, quad masters,
Masters 44
than anything else this year. That's what I'm waiting to see. But if I spend my money now, I won't have it available to buy some flippy masters. I'm talking about like buying a case of flippy masters in it, $300 a box. That's $1,800, people. That money's got to come from somewhere, and I already bought a case of Commander Legends Baldur's Gate at like $560 something.
I'd love to throw in on. Oh, you're going to keep the whole thing sealed, I assume.
No, I do plan to crack boxes to play draft. I don't know when. Hello, Sherry Vegas. Thanks for joining us. So we'll see where I go with that. But I mean, I felt sort of cornered. I don't know if I talked about this last week on our stream or if I talked about it on the roundtable. I get so confused nowadays. I bought it sort of ahead of schedule. I had planned in my budget. I already bought the 3 boxes. Like I did buy 2 boxes of new Capenna. So let me back that up. So in my budget, I want to have the shelf candy. I want to try to have at least 1 box of most products. Like I even have a set box. I do have a bundle box of Crimson Vow, but I have no like set or draft boosters of it. I have 1 set box of Midnight Hunt. I bought it like $72 when somebody was panic selling.
I was actually just looking at picking up some new products, and off of the Rudy's page there, a box of Midnight Hunt at 85 still feels decent enough. And I was looking at the EVs on it. It seems like it's not bad at 85. I enjoy opening up stuff. That's one of my big things about Magic the Gathering is I want to rip wrappers. And I definitely indulge in that in my channel. So I've been looking at different things to get into. And Midnight Hunt doesn't seem terrible.
But, you know, I try to have the shelf candy. Someday I plan to have something besides the green screen behind me, and I'd like to have the actual boxes like the Professor. Maybe not quite to the extent that Moxman does, but, you know, have some shelf candy behind me for people to go, ooh, ah. But, so I am buying boxes for that particular reason, but I'm not buying them to crack. Now, the Commander Legends Baldur's, geez, what a long, Commander Legends 2. You know, it's a Commander draft product, and I heavily endorsed Commander Legends 1 because it's fun, not just for the value, but it's fun. So I do plan to crack some of those to have that same experience. I had planned on buying 3 boxes to leave on a shelf, so I was like, might as well have 3 boxes that I can crack. So I bought the case, and it was with the impending price increase, which I think we're going to talk about a little later. You know, it kind of forced my hand to buy that when I could get them. I nabbed them because I don't want to miss out at $96 a box, which I was comfortable enough buying Commander Legends pre-order at $96. I don't recommend buying things in the hype moment. Right. And that doesn't feel like a hype moment to me. Hopefully that was a very long-winded but informative response.
No, and I'm behind you, especially on that last note. You know, looking at oh my God,
what are you doing behind me?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even have windows behind me. It's a wall.
Holy shit! It's MTG
Underground.
Gaming Matt. No. um, I think Modern Horizons 2 is a great example of that. When everybody was cracking it and it was all the hype, it was starting to climb right up as far as sealed product, you know, buying boxes of it, even the singles. And now that so many people have, it's definitely available at a much easier purchase price. And I think that goes back to one of the first things we started the show with, is waiting that, you know, 30, 60, 90 days out. Once you're a couple of months into the market, as far as products go, it's definitely a much more viable buying time. Not financial advice, you know, financial observations.
No, but we are here to try to, you know, share our take on things. That's why people are tuning in, I assume. They're at least, even if you don't agree with us, you're at least want to hear what we have to say about it. And I guess the word of the day for me would be patience. You know, that's what I've been preaching for quite some time. Actually, probably since the beginning of the year, about the sets I'm looking forward to, which ones I'll buy. And most people, when you ask them what sets are you looking forward to, Streets of Capenna was on nobody's list.
No.
There's not one person I heard, oh, Streets of New Capenna, that's what I'm doing. Nobody. Even Kamigawa wasn't high on people's list until right around, you know, spoiler season. People were like, oh crap, this is a good set. So, you know, I get it on Kamigawa. And honestly, if I was going to buy boxes for investment or value purposes or cracking, I'd go with Kamigawa over New Capenna all day.
Yeah, I think those channel lands are definitely going to stay pretty consistent in value. They're phenomenally good. Buseju just continues to kick ass. So it's not.
I think Awar is actually probably a little better
the
for
blue one
modern. For modern, and it's also legal in Pioneer, right? For those decks that like, you know, the tempo decks and head to head, that's certainly not a commander card. I don't think. I don't know why you'd want to channel bounce something. It's like, that's not enough impact for the resources. But no, I think it is an excellent set. It just really is. Kamigawa. But I bought very little of that. I have one box. And a couple of bundles, I think. At any rate, like I said, this is what it takes to save money. This is the time you need to stay disciplined. You know, not buying into the hype, not going out and being one of the guys or cracking it on a stream just to crack it. If you want to have the funds available, because double masters, don't kid yourself, folks. That shit is expensive. If you missed out on double masters, the original, take one, probably because it was too expensive when it came out at $300 a box. You're like, I'm not doing that. And don't you wish you had it now when it's, you know, I was looking at prices approaching $900 a box. I think it's clearly going up. It's clearly going to hit $1,000 a box within the next year.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, don't you wish you had bought something at 300 that turned into 1,000 2 years later? I wish my investments would do that well in the stock market. You know, that's like 250% increase. So, you know, if you want to have these really valuable things, you have to have the discipline to not buy, you know, every gumball in the candy store. If you want to buy that Willy Wonka chocolate bar and try to get the golden ticket.
Yeah, if you want something good, you got to make sure that you're able to, you know, wait for the things that are worthwhile. Wait a while for things that are worthwhile. You know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you want my take on it, and you just have money burning a hole in your pocket, I'd start targeting the fetch lands. I mean, they're low.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like,
yeah,
get them now, because when they go out of print,
yep.
If they don't print them soon, it's not like fetch lands suddenly became unused. You know, they just became more plentiful. Well, that's all relative, because there's a whole bunch sitting in people's collections, and there's probably people that are sitting on like 100, 200 copies of each and whatnot, just dumping money into it, right? And they'll drip it out there when the prices drift higher. And then if you needed it and you're waiting on it, like we're a year into it already. I'm surprised that they're still as low as they are. And I'm pretty sure this week I'm seeing a lot of people, and I'm seeing the numbers back this up, saying that the Modern Horizons 2 set booster boxes are out of print, and they're not going to print more. And they have gone up within the last couple of weeks. That I have been watching.
Yeah. I mean, these fetchies right now, God, I'm if you hear me say fetchies again, yell at me. I think it's a dumb way to say it. Fetch lands. I'm a goddamn grown up and I'm going to say the whole word. Fetch lands. Yeah. Fetch lands are like $15 to $20 a piece right now.
That's insane. Think about that.
Like that, it sounds weird to say that. $15 to $20 a piece. I might have to switch over. So I've got like, I think 12 Mystic Remoras at this point. If I can get them under $10, I'm just buying them. I'm going and I'm bidding all the way up to it. I freaking love the card. I'm going to keep doing it. That's just my jam. That's a personal thing on the aside. But I'm going to have to start buying some of these fetch lands. I don't use them much in decks. I don't think I have a single fetch land in any deck.
You should.
They've always been too expensive.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. People were saying, oh, they're going to bottom out in 2 to 3 months. And then 2 to 3 months came and they kept drifting lower and lower.
Yeah. I think
this
they're
might really going to have they're probably really going to bottom out if they're not already bottomed out. And what it'll take is them announcing Modern Horizons 2 is out of print. As soon as that happens, panic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And those prices are just going to start marching up. Now, I won't say they're going to spike overnight, but they'll start marching up. And they might start marching up like now when the draft boxes are still plentiful, but the set boxes are drying up. Right? Forget about collector boxes. We're talking about just the set and draft boxes. So I'm pretty sure from what I'm seeing, either it's waiting between waves of reprints for the set boxes, but the prices are going up. I was able to get set boxes earlier for like $210, and they're now like around $240. So that's pretty recent in development. So something to keep an eye on. And I think that will affect the fetch lands. And I think fetch lands are still just as needed. That's why Professor did videos on them, and everybody knows what a fetch land is. And it's hard to see things, at scale for time. Like this time, we're bored. I want to open packs, whatnot. New Capenna, okay. And then you spent the budget that you have for Magic, which you should establish a budget, an annual budget, and stick to it. I'm not your daddy. I won't tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Just what maybe I think you should do. However, this is the time to have the discipline for that. If you must spend money, start looking at wise places to put your money. Things that not everybody's talking about. If it's hot and it's new and it's flashy and it's on every content creator's hot topic list, then everybody's looking at it. And you're just one of the sheep following the crowd. Look for the things that are good, that should have value. Another one out there, Mirari's Wake. Traditionally has always been a fantastic card. It's down around $5 a piece right now. Yeah. If you want to find these gems, look at Jake and Joel. They always put videos out saying, look, all-time low, all-time high, what you should be buying. Don't buy this. They do great on that kind of stuff. That's I agree with that. What I'm saying is, if you know something's really good, don't buy the hype stuff right now. Buy the stuff that people aren't paying attention to, because it'll have less heat on it, less pressure on it, and you can get it at reasonable prices.
It's funny you say that. We're 30 minutes in. Now's the time. I'll drop it. So I found Ikoria Collector blister packs again on sale. So yeah. So I was on MTG Stocks and I was looking at just on one of their other pages for sealed products to see what a booster box would be, because I found on a Smoke and Mirrors site they had booster boxes of Ikoria for like $119, I think. Well, seems pretty fair, shipped. So I was on the page there. On TCG Player, there's somebody selling the Ikoria blister collector packs again. I think it's $21.99 plus shipping and handling. So it's like $23.30 out the door. So there's one idiot that's got 29 of them. Or that's the maximum that you can list that you have. No, you can list that you have more. Yeah.
What it, if we get live breaking news. Do you
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember what you locked in your Unfinity at?
No, not off the top of my head.
I think you're going to be a little surprised by this.
Uh-oh. Hit it. Bob's going big.
You got it?
Yep. Add this bad boy to stream. 120 for a fucking draft booster bot. Ooh, wow, baby boy.
All right.
Yo.
Right?
Wow.
It's not even projected to come out. Remember what I said when I purchased mine. I don't know if I want to go into the, but I locked mine in at $99 a box.
Ooh, man. I mean, right off the rip, that's 20% cheaper, and you get 20% more bang for your buck. Not just that it's cheaper, but like value out of it. That's when you keep a sealed product for a long time, then you can open it up later and you're getting your value again. But just by buying it early, sitting on the pre-order for a couple of months, maybe that's what it is. You already did that, 30 to 90 day wait with pre-order action.
And I ordered it in February. Right. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, not following the hype. I don't know how better to put that. Right. Hype is exciting, and you pay attention and be aware of it and cheer on other people opening up Urza's Destiny and Legacy. No offense. And are we willing to roll the bones to piss off another content creator? Because I don't want to, but I just feel like I want to say
probably.
It.
I have no problem offending anybody. They have as much right to be offended as I have right to offend. I'm a human.
So it's bothering me seeing Urza's Legacy Destiny saga being opened.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about loose packs. I'm talking about boxes.
Mm-hmm.
There are very few of those sealed boxes in the wild. And I'm just going to call it like I see it. If you were spending your own money to do that, okay. But having people that support you chip in to be part of this, and they're going to walk away with empty wallets. Like, that is just a bad, bad move in Magic to open old sealed. The sealed product itself is what's special.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's the premium.
That entity, as it's sealed, like this pack, I could turn, I don't know, what are these, about $36 a piece or so? The invasion packs? The see-through invasion packs?
I'd say probably higher.
They're somewhere around there. We'll say $30 to $40. But if you look, the majority of the cards in the set are like 50 cents, people. I'm almost guaranteed to turn $40 into $1. Right? That's the highest likelihood of what's going to happen. So I don't. But if I keep it sealed, this sealed pack itself is an entity that becomes more and more special and precious over time. I don't need to see what's in it because it already is the special thing, right? I want the cards in Invasion. I go buy them. They've already been opened. I don't mind that somebody else's hands touched them. So as you reach back farther and farther in time, opening sealed, especially at other people's expense, really bothers me a lot.
That's the one that definitely is a bit of a hate to me. Yeah.
I might be a little harsh, might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I'll say this to everybody that's watching this and they can hear my voice. I may not even know who you are. We may not talk. But if you're taking the time to tune in and listen to us, I feel a sense of obligation to try to look out for your best interests. I'm not saying this to hear myself talk because I already look out for my own best interests. I already talk in Discord and on my phone to my personal close friends. I'm trying to share as much information as I can for no other reason than it was. Do you remember what the follow-up last week was? I think Matt asked it actually about why he asked me, why do I care? Why
Yeah.
am I trying to tell people? And it's because you're part of my flock. That's the way I look at it.
Mm.
And I feel a sense of duty to have to, I did say duty on film,
Duty.
to look out for people, and it feels like if I'm begging you for money because I can't afford a $14,000 box to crack on my own for people's entertainment value so that you can help shoulder the loss for me to open it, then I enjoyed the experience of opening all your packs at your expense. That's a feel bad just watching for me. It is. And I turn them off because it just kind of sours me. And, God bless you if y'all, that's what you want to do is, have somebody else open your $300 packs on film to turn them into 50 cents. Good on you. I would say I'd feel much better if you opened that pack or if you had it sitting on your shelf. Sorry, I feel it public service announcement there. So yes, that's the reason I say it, and I might not be your cup of tea, and people might get irritated at me. I call them like I see them. I have no pony in this race. I'm not trying to sell a damn thing. I don't even know if I'm going to sell any of the sealed product I have or any cards I've collected. I'm doing well enough financially that I may never have to, and I'm not trying to rub it in anybody's face. I'm trying to tell you that I'm not Rudy trying to make a living at this. And I love Rudy. I hate when people bash him. Really do. Really, it grinds my gears when people bash him. Imagine if we didn't have Rudy in our community.
Yeah, I know
it would be a smaller world without
for whatever negative aspects that he brings to it. He's got a bravado, and it's clear he's not actually just spouting off at the mouth, because he sits in front of pallets and pallets of sealed products. So he's got the actual value. He's doing the things, and it's legitimate. As much as some people dislike the guy, and honestly, I watch every friggin' video. I've had him open up stuff for me. I Ikoria at that. And it's just one of those things where some people might not like the spokesperson, but he's got a whole lot of swing behind him, and he's not sponsored. It's all done by him, and he does have decent prices. If you ever get a spot on his Patreon, he's doing stuff. So yeah,
not only that, you
look at it too.
It's your responsibility when it comes to Rudy to realize he does have an agenda to sell boxes of cards. Keep that in mind always. But don't hate him for his hustle. How many of you are trying to make some money on Magic?
Yeah,
right. That way. Look in the mirror. Wouldn't you like to make money on Magic? And he just has more pull. I've never caught him lying about anything. He might talk things up, but that's a far stretch from a lie.
Yeah.
And I'm not sucking up to Rudy either. I was a patron. I got pissed off at him, so I left. There you have it. And I don't intend to go back. But it's up to me to watch out for my well-being. But he puts a lot of information out there that I listen to. Right? It's not that I take him as a prophet and I don't think myself and I just push buttons because he told me to push the red button. Yeah, he has good information that you gather up collectively, and you put that into your thinking cap and go out and do your research to find out what you should be buying, whether it's for collecting or playing or investing. But he's got a lot of good information, and sad will be the day when Rudy leaves YouTube.
Agreed. And he's made it quite clear that that's his intention. I mean, I don't think he has to he doesn't have to do what he does as far as creating content for us to enjoy. Whereas I think, like you said, it will be a disappointment and a detriment when we see him kind of shuffle off into the swamps of Florida, when his basement floods and he drowns to death in his mom's house. It's going to be sad, but beautiful.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't agree with his all in on New Capenna at 1.5 million. I don't know what he was trying to get at there. I don't really care.
I don't actually think I've watched the entirety of that video.
More with his flesh and blood stuff. And even he sort of sometimes forgets things that he says, and it's clear because it's like when he was telling me, for example, the reason I have 3 collector boxes of Commander Legends. We'll just cover that, right? Because it started. I'll try to give this. This is going to be long, so buckle up or tune out and go wash dishes. So it started, and I don't have the proof, but you can go back and dig through his videos. It was around the August of 2020 time frame. I was just kind of getting back in because of Ikoria. Like probably in June or July, I got back in. But it was like in August, Rudy had stated that collector boxes are a one and done. That was the first time I heard of that. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that, because where do you find that information? I was like, okay, so I'm going to pay attention to that. And then he was talking about, the new set boxes coming out with the Zendikar Rising. And that was a new thing. And collector boxes were still kind of in their infancy. But what he was saying about a month later in September that, okay, folks, I put in my order for Commander Legends collector boxes, but they told me that they're only going to let me get about 10 to 20% of what I normally order for collector boxes. I was like, huh. So there's going to be a short print run. And then again, he said it in like November sometime about them. So I pre-ordered 3 of those jokers. I'm like, well, I better get them while I can. And I intended to crack them open. And they were about $220 at that time, piece pre-ordered. Well, they come out, and I mean, the day that I got them, the LGS had, I literally picked up mine for, I think I got 1 at $220 and 2 at $230. When I picked up my boxes, I looked on the shelf, and he had the collector boxes already at $300 the day of release, like when I picked mine up. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I won't open those. And then in December, Rudy's like, hey, where are all the collector boxes? And I'm like, what do you mean? You're the one that said that there's not going to be that many, that they were short run. And then again in January, he complained again that they didn't get a second wave. He was expecting a second wave of collector boxes that never came. So sometimes I think he doesn't even pay attention. Sorry, this is a very long story. But it was sort of the proof in the pudding. And if you go back and look at his videos, you'll find that sometimes he does that. He'll say that. But the valuable thing is that he told me, right? He gave me the bits of information I needed when I picked it apart and listened to it. And, I targeted, even before Zendikar Rising released, I was already targeting Commander Legends collector boxes, because it already sounded like, oh boy, I'm listening up. And it's like, oh, this is going to be rare. It's going to be low print run. Same thing happened with TSR. I didn't want it, but I pre-ordered my 2 boxes that I have at $170 a piece.
Jeez.
So you got to listen, kind of to what he's saying without just, buying it, wholesale. You got to listen for the important bits of information that Rudy will give you from time to time. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. And I think one of the big reasons is he probably talks so much Magic, in his personal life and his business life, with the moves and his shakes that he's doing, is he probably talks so friggin' much about it that a lot of it just slips his mind. I wouldn't be surprised. There's combos and stuff that I've talked about with friends in my pod. 2 of my best friends I work with, and we're constantly playing Magic on our lunch break. We probably get in 3 games of EDH during our work lunches at work a week, which is phenomenal. I love that opportunity. But we talk about so many interactions and little Magic things that I certainly forget about a good number of them. So it's not surprising that Rudy as well has that same thing in a much higher, power than I do.
Oh yeah, I mean, think about it. He's constantly. He said it before. He's given speeches where he's talking about what a life in the day of Rudy looks like. I'll bet you that dude's hustling. From the time he gets up to the time he goes to bed. And he probably gets up a little later, but probably goes to bed ridiculously late. And he's done an entire week's worth of work that I would do in one day. That dude's the mover and shaker. There's a reason he's a multimillionaire. And if you have that kind of discipline and that kind of, devotion, you could be just as successful. Now, yeah, maybe I'm droning on and on too much about Rudy. Rudy, if you're watching this and you love me and you watch this I love you video, drop me a line. I'd love to have you on some point. That'd be great to have Rudy. Can you imagine having Rudy on as a guest? You're welcome to join us, Rudy. I'd love to have you. Yeah. I don't know that he would ever deign to join us. But and it's not like I'm rushing to his defense. But realize he's a 35-year-old dude. I'm a 51-year-old man.
He's 35.
He said his mid-30s. So
he's got to be in his late 30s at this point. If not,
I tried to do the math because he's talking about 2008 stock market. I'm like, it's 2022. That's 14 years ago. If you're 35, that would make you like 21 in the stock market. When did you graduate college? Anyways.
Yeah. Okay. So late. I was like, man, he looks terrible for being 35. Damn.
There you have it, Rudy. Rudy, you look like shit. Oh, there you go. That'd be another title. Rudy looks like shit. That'd be the title of the stream.
The guy's freaking huge, though. He's got to be like 6'3".
He's a tall dude. I don't know how tall. At any rate, don't hate on Rudy too much, and don't hate on me too much, and don't hate on any content creator too much. Listen to what all of us have to say, and you are responsible for parsing all that information out for yourselves. Right? I do my best to try to be as direct with no motive other than trying to look out for the community. That's just my personality. So don't hate on Rudy too much, or anybody out there. They're doing the best they can, even when the professor wears weird mustaches and whines a lot about
not a fan.
Social leftism or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
but he's doing good stuff, and I'm going to say right now, the content creator I can't stand the most is a perp. If you ever watch his live streams, I just think he's an ass.
Oh,
but he makes some of the absolute best videos. Very informative, super timely.
Yeah.
And there's lots of people who do lots of good things out there. DJ, love you, buddy. Sometimes the round table is a bit of a mess, but you're an innovator, and you got a lot of content creators together, and you deserve props for, creating a hub of content creators and introducing people. And it's a special thing, and you deserve all the credit in the world for that. So, and I don't even know what all my faults are. I don't have enough time for the rest of the stream to list all that shit out, but I do my best to put out content that's helpful to people, useful, not just entertaining for me, which is why I kind of really hate the whole opening expensive packs at other people's expense.
I enjoy opening packs. I like giving the opportunity to other people to be able to see that. And I feel as though, if people are down for spending some of their money to have me do it for them, God bless and all that. But I can't imagine. I bet it's a phenomenal feeling for Joey to get into a big box of like Urza's, to be able to pop that open, go through all those packs. It's probably great for him to have that opportunity to do it. But for people to go through $300 packs, I don't know. It seems too high, price versus value. That's one of those things.
Well, and look at it this way. The packs that you crack for other people.
Yeah. Right.
There's at least a possibility they're going to, hit big and walk away with more than what they paid you to open the packs.
And that's one of the big things is,
not true with those older packs.
Responsible about my purchases, what I'm getting into and stuff. It's not like no one thinks it's a good idea to open up Urza's Legacy. Your EV is just crazy because it's so old. You don't open that stuff. So that's
look at the beta box that they did that whole thing on. Did you watch that debacle with the, what was it called, Heritage Auctions or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Honestly, and I've never asked you this question before. How did it make you feel watching them crack those packs? Were you excited, or you just go, ooh?
No,
the one that opened an island was his rare.
Yeah, that's the feeling is of
a $5,000 island.
Yeah, it's like watching someone have nettle soup. Oh, this is a terrible experience. It wasn't enjoyable.
Yeah, cactus bicycle seat. It's like, oof, that's I don't want to. No, it's a cringe factor that it's not exciting to me. It really isn't. And even if like those people could have potentially walked away with a Black Lotus, which would have been more than what they paid for a single pack.
Yeah,
that's a bit different than Legacy, Destiny, Saga, even like Stronghold. Well, Stronghold, I guess you could still, like, it's just, I mean, unless you hit the foil something, a foil rare at a legacy, you're just not, the best you're going to do is break even with a Grim Monolith.
Yeah.
There's a Saga is a slightly better chance at the, a few of them that might pay for the pack. But it's only slightly better. Keep it sealed. Keep the wrapper on it, folks, because it's far more, Schrodinger's cat. You want to explain that to him?
So if you put a cat and expired poison in a box, at both times, if you never look in the box, the cat is both alive and dead because you haven't confirmed the results of whether the poison has worked and the cat died. So until you open it, it has maximum possibilities inside of it. Let's put it that way. So by opening a pack of cards, you lock in reality, which is what everybody wants to do themselves. By going through the random option, when you open the pack of cards, that's what you get. Until you open it, it could be anything in the world, the best of the best. But then you open it, and it really is usually the worst of the worst. It's always been that way. That's why WotC's always kind of had the gamble ability,
So Schrodinger's cat, keeping it sealed. The best card in the set that I could possibly get is in this pack.
Yep.
Right? Think about that. I know it's a mind twister, spark one up on that occasion and think about it a little. But now, I'm not trying to be Mr. Poo-Poo. I love cracking packs.
Yeah.
We cracked a bunch of packs that unfortunately got wiped out for shorts after after the stream last week.
It's funny. My buddy came over. So I made a video recently, showing off of those Ikoria collector packs, right? Well, my buddy come over. We do the investing together. We got kind of buzzed and opened like 6 of them off camera. So we got Deflecting SWAT, Fierce Guardianship, Full Art Ozolith, all sorts of the good hits. Just hanging out, dicking around, open the best of the best packs. And that's what Magic is to me. That experience of like, oh my God, my buddy came over. I remember being like 14 years old, asking my mother for permission to go over to hang out and like sleep over at a friend's house and play Magic all night long. Those are great experiences, and I just absolutely love that kind of stuff. Hey, Savannah, great to have you here. And it's so fun as an adult to have the experience to crack packs with close friends in person, that excitement of doing it myself. So it takes a little bit of that luster away when you pay someone else $300 to lose the money for you. I want to have the fun of losing the money. That's why you go to the casino in person, right?
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, it makes me feel bad to see other people losing their money. Like if somebody else, like if Rudy cracked open some boxes, dude's a multimillionaire. You go for it, Rudy. If that's what that's what I want to do at some point, but it's going to be my money, right? It's my money that I win or lose. I'm not taking your money and everybody else's to go gamble in the casino. Can you bring up that comment from Artie?
Oh yeah, I got you.
Well, I'm not sure if you were here earlier, Mr. Coy, but it's just for relevancy to kind of know what the theme is. I kind of if you pay attention on the Saturday nights, I generally try to have up a theme in the background behind me, and this is the opening weekend for the pre-release weekend for New Capenna, and we talked about it quite a bit, and just my general still holding the line that I'm saving my money for double flippy masters to see what comes out with it, and if it sucks, we'll have to flex then. But right now it's super hype, and we had talked about how people are opening it, and there's a lot of buzz about it, especially the set boosters. But my take on it is still a hold, kind of still pass, wait for the singles, and save bigger money for bigger products. Oh, I'm happy. I'm really happy. And this is just what it looks like. This is the time frame when you have to have that discipline, and this is the sort of, I guess, lull in the action to me. It's nice to see other people opening it. There's still nothing in there that makes me super excited. Like, ooh, that card's just the bomb diggity.
I think that that's something we should start coining. We can do it right here live on the show with our best supporter, Savannah. Opening weekend. It's not pre-release. It's opening weekend. Because that's what everybody's doing. Everybody's just cracking these packs. And that's the biggest thing is whether or not people are enjoying it. I mean, when Zendikar Rising came out, everybody was just ripping that shit right open. They were getting right into it. And all the womp womp started right away. So that's the same kind of thing. Whether or not it's good or bad, it's not just, oh, hey, it's released. No, this is opening week. You go on, you type in hashtag MTG into YouTube. It's just going to be Streets of New Capenna up and down. Whether or not it's good, bad, indifferent. That's all you're going to see.
Yeah, and I commented on the frequency of the list, and I still think, they made a tweak, and it's all right. So here's a more interesting question, Pat, after the long dissertation I gave about the list, right? Am I happier with it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are you happier with it? Like, I'm not happy when they drive prices into the ground. That doesn't make me happy, especially if they could make my coveted Commander Legends box prices, it's gonna have some effect on it, some negative downward pressure by reprinting Vampiric Tutor and having a lot of them out there. I mean, that's one of the big hits you can get, probably the second biggest hit out of the box. So that doesn't make me super happy. But I really hate the list slot. I was opening a box with my buddy, and as I'm getting him into Magic investing, and we cracked open two set boxes of MH2, and let me tell you, those list hits were, I think the most expensive one we got between two boxes was $8, and the next one was like $6. So it's like, hey, yeah, not, and there's a bunch of like 15-cent set list cards. It's like, okay, that was unexciting. So at least the list cards are now more exciting, kind of. But they're just printing the living bejesus out of these cards, and they're going to make them $5 cards.
Now, what do you think about that Bootlegger Stash? I think this is probably one of the most chased cards out of Streets of New Capenna. Have you looked much at this bad boy right here?
I have, and I did some thoughts on it, and to be quite frank, okay, do we want to get into my analysis of this card? I don't think so. I don't love this card for two reasons. Number one, it's in green, and there's other ramp things and other things you want to be doing with 6 mana, right? So I guess you could say it kind of, sort of will pay for itself the turn afterwards, maybe.
Okay.
But by turn 6, you better have your engines online. You know what I'm saying? Or by 6 mana. I mean, think of the green things that you can cast at 6 mana, like Elder Gargaroth, things that are going to have like big impact on the game. By the time you get to that point, you better start having your Craterhoof Behemoth already set up. And all it takes is one disenchant, one blow up artifact thing, and this is gone.
If this were a land, even if it were an artifact for 5, even an artifact for 6, I guess it would be fair. But 5 in a green definitely makes it far more restrictive. I think, yeah, as a legendary land, a mythic land would, make it a far better. A Yavimaya, that kind of stuff. But I think the reason they'd have to make it an artifact is because of the power level on it. I think
all I'm saying is that it's
pretty good thing.
It's not as impressive to me as other cards, which I don't understand why they aren't seeing more play, like Wandering Archaic.
Oh my god, yeah! I actually just got that into one of my decks, and I've got that in Kaikar. That way, even on other people's turns, I can get some great effects.
I mean, just there's some really good things out there. Do I like this or Jester's Cap better?
Ooh,
all day long, I'm taking Jester's Cap.
yeah,
That's a game breaker. This
yeah,
okay. In green, I'm getting more mana sources or more artifacts. Like green's not like super duper artifact loving. As a matter of fact, it's sort of the anti-artifact color, if you want to look at it that way. Reclamation Sage, et cetera, et cetera. So I think in other colors, this would be far better, like black or white. That would be a far, far better chase card, right? But you're giving green sort of more pseudo ramp.
right. It definitely does a lot of color fixing. If I threw that in my Omnath deck, I could definitely get a good bit of value, especially if I can cheat it out into play.
Like
I
at 5, even at 5 mana, I'd probably like it better,
yeah.
Then I'd be like, oh, that's pretty juicy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it does enough for 6 mana. Right. Sorry. I'm not in love with it. And I'm not going to try to go looking for cards that, like, I think I like the sword better. The Ixiador, I think is what it's called, or some crap like that. I think is probably a better card.
Ixiador, Giada's Gift or something. Yeah. The Planeswalker Activator.
I love Lion Sash better than this card.
Oh, yeah. I actually pulled a full art Lion Sash the other day, slammed that in a deck. I was playing at lunch, and I had plus 17 from just having Lion Sash. And it's such a good friggin' card.
It's a great little card. Fairly costed. You're going to have it out as 2 mana, 1 to do targeted graveyard hate, turn it into an equipment rather than a creature.
My graveyard. Get rid of Terramorphic Expanse out of my graveyard. I don't need it. I'd rather have a +1 counter for doing so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that great. I think I like the Evolving Door slightly better, to be honest. There's not a lot of people talking about it, but just the ability, especially in Commander, you have a 100-card deck, right? So Evolving Door is a pseudo Survival of the Fittest, which is a $300 card, or at least $200. If you ever play with it, it's a beastly card, Survival of the Fittest. And this one, you can do it in response to like somebody's killing your creature. Okay, fine. I'm gonna go find an even better creature. It's like, oh, oof, okay. Now it's got some limitations, of course, like if you've already got your max colors on it. But this thing, oof. Like if this, like it feels to me like what they should have had on this is you sacrifice this and a creature to go get one, so it's a one-time use thing. Man, you could like untap this thing. It just feels like there's gonna be shenanigans. Right?
Yeah, it's pretty damn good. Even if you're going for
let's say you get something that puts out tokens, right? So every time a creature comes into play, you put out a token, you can untap this thing and then you sack that token that's a 1 color to go get all your 2 color stuff. Just keep untapping this. Like this is more broken than the one that lets your lands tap for artifacts, in my opinion. There's way more ways to break this thing.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of being able to search my library. One of my pod mates just played a card the other day where you could tap one, colorless, tap this card, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, someone else gets control of it. And being able to go through your deck, get exactly what you need, put it in your hand, and for this to be repeatable, I mean, shit. In green, you throw a Seedborn Muse right along with this, and you're constantly just pumping out shit squirrel tokens. You're able to go through, get your Sapperlings to die off, and now you're, going right ahead, upgrading a whole lot.
I like Evolving Door. I'm just saying that to me, there are more interactions with that than simply all your lands can tap to produce a treasure token. I mean, there are ways to use that, but yeah, I'm just saying. I think that in this case, especially with the Vampiric Tutor, I'm glad that they made the list cards feel better, because when I shared my box with my buddy, the list cards just felt like poop, and they generally do. I just generally don't like them. Halo Fountain, yeah. So I'm glad that they made the list cards better, but I wish they had kept the frequency with which you get big hits out of the list. Like, they should have kept that the same.
Oh, don't you worry, RD Coy. You know, a lot of us, even if you've been with Magic for a long time, since they're consistently, constantly producing new mechanics, keyword abilities, we're always kind of new to Magic. Things are always evolving. So the way, treasure tokens, those never really used to be a thing. And as soon as I saw the bootlegger stash there, I'm thinking, oh, hey, throw an old Gnawbone right next to that one. Now you're getting a crazy amount of treasure tokens. You can do a lot of really good stuff. And as they introduce more cards, the abilities to go back and forth to add in new combos with some of the stuff that's 30 years old almost, next year?
Don't get me wrong. I think it's a fine card, but as far as being a chase, Halo Fountain, I think is fine, but just stupidly mana intensive to be really good. Like I said, I have not been impressed with this set. I still feel that the best cards that they came up with in this set are the Triumphs, the completion of the Triumph cycle. I think that has much more far-reaching implications throughout the world of Magic than any other cards in this set. People were talking about the Charms at first. Nobody's talking about Charms now.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's one of the big things that I'm looking forward to in the next 60 days is I'm going to go hard trying to get a number of these Triomes, Tricycle lands as Tom pack opening as he's trying to push it. I think that they're good, but the shard color combination is probably a little bit worse off than the regular friend colors. But these things are freaking great. I'm definitely snagging up a whole bunch of these. And that's one of the smart things, like we touched earlier on in this episode, is putting your money in smart categories. I'm not looking to get a whole bunch of sealed New Capenna. Shit, what's the point? I don't want to get a bunch of sealed Kamigawa. I want a couple of cards here, there, the other place. Seems a smart way to do it.
Yeah. I want sealed Commander Legends Baldur's Gate, even if it's not a great set, because of the draftability of Commander. Like, I play Commander, mostly when I want to play, and I like draft. So I thought Commander Legends 1 was I don't think enough people have caught on to this yet. They will. But drafting Commander is kind of the way to go. It keeps that power level equal, like you were talking about, that desire to play at the same relative power levels. Because you can't go into a draft.
Jumpstart. We could do Jumpstart real easy over the internet because we don't have to draft the packs back and forth. We don't have to exchange cards. We can just say, okay, cool. You open a pack, I open a pack, you open a pack, I open a pack. There's our friggin' decks. Let's go ahead and play some game.
You could even do sealed Commander Legends, right? Like instead of doing a draft, but sort of simulate that by saying, fine, you crack open the box and you get a sealed pool of 6 packs, right? So build your deck out of 6 packs instead of 3 draft packs being drafted. So as I'm just saying, Commander Legends Baldur's Gate as a sealed entity for a playability standpoint has value to me just in that sealed product. For products that have just value as value, I mean, I think Ikoria had an uptick this week in the boxes. For sealed. Modern Horizon 2, I think, is a can't lose product. TSR had a huge uptick.
I was just looking at the EV on that one just before we got on here, and it's currently in a nice little spike right now. Sealed product of it seems pretty cheap. You can probably snag a box for 120-ish, but the EV on Ikoria, low market 132, average is 162. So not financial advice, speculation purely right here, but I think we're going to see a huge upturn in sealed Ikoria in the next couple of weeks.
I don't know about huge, but we're certainly going to see a drift. I feel it's going to be a more, it's going to this is what I was talking about. Like, even if you have a good price on, let's say, Crimson Vow, that, okay, you can't really lose money at $80 a box. And I agree with that. The difference is you could spend $80 a box on Crimson Vow that in a year from now will be $90 a box. Or you could drop $120 on Ikoria, which very well could be $150 by this time next year.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is making your money. If you're buying it for investment purposes, outpacing the products that are around it. And if I was to pick a single product, if I had to pick one single product besides Double Masters, because that had the biggest actual upswing this week.
Yeah.
Like that's just going through the roof. And that's
I had to roll my eyes at that thought because of how incredibly high the
oh my God
price tag is, and then the value. While we were talking about it earlier, I pulled up the list. You have to scroll down almost an entire page to get to Toxic Deluge because there's so many friggin' good cards in that set.
So Modern Horizons 2, even though people aren't, whatever the Chuck Norris in the face is around the bend, whatever Rudy says. Basically, the idea is you're not paying attention to the thing that's the obvious elephant in the room until it's already too late. And then you go, oh, holy shit. That became expensive. Oh, can you bring up Savannah's comment about recession? Well, he's being very careful. Okay. So Savannah says that, he's being very careful with his spending. And I agree with that. And I do think that there's some degree of recession coming. But, one market goes up, one market goes down at the same time. There's lots of people in the United States that got super wealthy during the Great Depression. Now, what you have to look at is how does a recession and things of that nature affect this product? How does it affect Magic as a whole? How does it affect individual products even within Magic? There are going to be some products that go up and some that go down. I am a fan of Sealed. Sealed is far more stable, has a far more solid floor than any single card, right? Because you still have that gambler's need to open sealed product. So I believe, and if you look at Dead Games, let's take Dead Games, for example. I have 2 sealed boxes from a game called, it's the Middle-earth collectible card game made by Ice Crown or something, or Ice, back in 1995. And I bought them because of Magic, and I didn't get in Magic in 1993. I got in 94. So I bought these boxes in 1995. Never cracked them because I couldn't find people who wanted to play. The game died. The boxes drifted all the way down to like $25 to $50 a box. You can sell them now between $500 and $1,000 a box as a sealed product. There is no card in the entire game that's over like $50 to $75. There's only one. The next one is like $20, and most of the rest of them are literally worthless. But I could easily sell those boxes for $500. No problem on a dead game because it's sealed. If I open them, I would be lucky. And if I got the one super expensive card, to get $100 for the whole thing. And that's if I hit the big dog card. So sealed product is a different entity, especially during times of recession and what people consider valuable. There's been ups and downs in the stock market since 1995, but those boxes right now are still worth $500, maybe $1,000 to the right buyer. So, it's just kind of like a point. Even in dead games that have no value, the cards in large part have no value, and people wouldn't buy them. We'll buy the sealed product, and it's the same with Magic, right? The sealed product is going to remain a stable entity, I believe, through recessions, through ups and downs, far better than opened product.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things is that we've seen a much gentler trend on sealed product across the board. Matt Castermaid just started recently doing sealed Saturdays. Huge fan of that. I kind of put to keep on doing it, and I'm glad he has. But one of the big things you see out of that is, this week it moved 0.3%.
Right.
The month it moved 1.2%. When you log on to MTG stocks, the first thing you see at the top is like a ticker. 18% movement, 39% movement, 21% movement. You don't see that kind of stuff in a sealed product, especially with losses. And that's one of the biggest things is you don't want to lose money on your stuff. And if it's singles, you have a more volatile market, speculation, all that stuff.
Yeah, plus card conditions all come into play with that. And you basically have a single set card condition for everything in a sealed box.
Yeah.
The assumption is everything in there is that everything is near mint, right? Packed fresh at a minimum. So, yes, pause. And I didn't intend to keep that sealed, and I did buy some unlimited, the same thing, and it's garbage. It's worth nothing. But it was an accident, a happy accident that I kept those boxes sealed because I was hoping I would open them on a special day. But my point was, that the sealed product is ultimately immensely more valuable than the opened product. Let me ask you this: what is an entire set of Fallen Empires worth?
Probably like $600.
What would you pay? Oh, you're out of your mind, dude.
Oh,
I think you'd be hard pressed to get
age on it.
Let's even see what they have. I don't want to close out our thing. I would bet most people would not pay any more than $200 to $250 for an entire set of Fallen Empires. Right? That's. Is there an EV? Do you have a quick way to look up the EV on it? Because I don't want to talk out of my butt. But let's look at the EV of Fallen Empires, and then look at the the sealed value of.
Oh no, MTG Stocks doesn't have an EV on this product.
No.
But
maybe it's too old.
I probably guessed 1/4 of
Rudy was
market.
Turning down buying collections at $50. He didn't even want them. Right?
Yeah.
And now the boxes can go between $600 to $800 for a box.
Savannah says EV's about $65. I don't know if that's a guess or
let's look at. No, I'm looking it up. Right. Actually, I have it. The regular set value is $125.94. That is a complete set.
Oh goodness, that's rough. That's
so TCG player. Let's see if we can even find a box of Fallen Empires. But I think you guys are getting my point. Is that ultimately your sealed product? And Rudy has the alligator graph video. I highly recommend everybody who's buying Magic watch that video. As time progresses, the value of sealed has very little to do with not very little to do, but it gets farther and farther away from the actual value of the product inside of it. So keeping something sealed, I think, is a better bet. And I know I'm drifting.
Yeah. That's fine.
So I'm trying to look up.
I love the conversations about Magic. That's one of the great things about this podcast is we're able to indulge in those deep dives.
So the cheapest box, and there's two of them about that price. There's one at $666. Wow, that's evil. With shipping, and one for $719, and then it goes up to $750 and up from there. For a set that even if you got the entire set out of a box, which is not impossible.
Yeah.
Is the box, the sealed box is worth 7 times what a complete set is worth.
Yeah.
Let's think about it. The sealed box is worth 7 times what a complete set is worth.
To actually get out of it. Yeah. That's rough. I mean, and it's a consistent drift, like you were saying with Rudy's chart there. The length of time between distribution window and when you're opening it as a sealed product, when you're selling it as a sealed product, it gets further and further off. Right now, I think that's one of the reasons why you can see Rudy selling certain stuff at $85 a piece for his patrons, because it's super cheap to get that product and to move it. Whereas when you get to things that are, TSR, okay, now you're up to about $300. You're very close to the EV. You keep going further out, You get to let's say, or the Spark, right? Now your EV starts getting a bit, lower down. It's harder to get the sealed product. You keep going further out, you're getting to like Fifth Dawn, let's say. Now you're spending a couple of $100 for a box, and there's no way you're getting the value out of it. And I think Rise of Eldrazi, right around that same time, was similar to TSR's release. There were some great stuff in it, but they just had a hard time getting it out to people. And you keep bringing that chart further and further out between distribution time and selling of the sealed product. It's super interesting. I love that there's the financial side to this, not just as, I love turning cards sideways. I love trample and infect. I'm a horribly gross, I love playing Commander, but at the same time, I like making money. And if I can do that off of buying something and doing nothing with it, shit, man, I'm a huge fan of that.
Well, and as part of this, to be quite honest, I think that sealed Magic product is, and this starts going down a very long debatable rabbit hole about hedging your bets against inflation and recession. Right? The history of Magic products shows that it basically goes up over time, and it generally stays. You don't see this roller coaster for the sealed product. You see the you see open product cards, individual cards going up and down with a general trend up over long periods of time. But the sealed product is far more stable, right? And if if you're investing now and you feel that there's a recession, that means that you believe that the stock market and bonds and whatnot are going to go down, especially crypto, very volatile. So you're kind of hedging your bets against inflation and against recession. It's not that it's recession proof, but you're hedging your bets against it by buying something like Magic that just tends to trend upward inexorably, slowly, and over time. Just every time it's when you look at that, it's typically when a card goes up, you're like, oh, what came out that broke that card that made it spike? When you look at sealed, it's sort of like the frog in the pot of boiling water. You're looking at it, it's not that much, it's not that much. Then you haven't looked at it for a while, and then you go back to it and you look at it and you're like, holy shit, when did that box suddenly hit $200? So, like I said, it's sort of a hedge against inflation. Some of them can spike rather hard, like Commander Legends collector boxes or double masters. So, keeping it sealed is the way to sort of safeguard those. But let's back this truck up just a touch, and something, Pat, you and I talk about quite often, and that's that any money you spend in Magic should be considered expendable income right from the start.
Oh, absolutely. This has to be you're losing expenditures. This has to be, things that you could just do without. If you have the choice of going down to your regular store and you can buy, I'm going to get everything I need for my week. I'm going to get some onions, some garlic, get some nice pork chops, do it right. Those are staples. You have to have that. You need money for your car, food and fuel. That's pretty basic. You got to pay for your electric. You got to make sure that you got internet, all those good things. But you don't have to buy Magic cards. And if you're spending money on something you don't have to do, you're a friggin' idiot. Just don't do that shit. It's a hobby. You don't have to buy that fancy new fishing rod. You don't have to get the most expensive tent every time that comes out, even if you love to camp.
Yeah, well, you should mark the comment there that Savannah Lion said, "Bring back Tinfoil Bob," and I think what he's getting at is that I'm getting down the no fun hole of Magic, and that's responsibility. Look, I love cracking packs, and I haven't played a game in a hot minute outside of Arena that I only play against Sparky or my dailies. I will, but to be quite frank, if I'm playing, I'm far more likely to grab a couple packs of Jumpstart and smash them together and play with Pat over Spell Table. I'm not averse to cracking packs of that.
I think that sounds super fun.
Commander Legends. We could even do, like sealed stuff. I don't really want to do the pre-release kits for New Capenna because I don't really like the fact that they had to come up with the
family thing.
faction packs.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather it be because
think
I know essentially kind of what I'm going up against.
Interesting, but not good.
It you know,
Thai food.
it sort of reduces the pool of what I'm going up against or what I can get. You know what I mean? Like it's limiting. And I would much rather just grab 6 booster packs of a product, just like in a standard pre-release kit. And you can do that.
I think that's a smart idea, Pause. By waiting another 60 days, you wait till the middle of June, 4th of July weekend. Maybe that's when you decide, oh shit, fireworks are going off. I'm going to go ahead, pop one of these boxes. And you'll see at that point whether it's a financially worthwhile decision, which, hey, shit, I'm probably grabbing some Ikoria out of the closet. I was at $95 buy-in. It's worth $135 for EV. Now's the time for me to go ahead and open that up. I'm going to draft that with friends. It just sounds like a great time. So that's Sunday's plan. That's what I'm doing 14 hours from now. I'm going to grab some Ikoria and draft that with buddies. Commander is great, but I like switching that shit up. That's one of the great things about keeping products sealed is that if you're not just, going to sell it on the open market, you can enjoy it later on. And that's one of the great things about some of the stuff we preach about is having that fun factor, not just the opening it up. Oh, I can get a Commander's plate, a Jeweled Lotus. I can have a great time with friends.
I agree. Now, the unfortunate part, especially since a large part of our audience are, not that it's unfortunate, but just by the nature of most of our audience, or a large part of them, are content creators, fellow content creators showing their solidarity and support, and I very much appreciate that. So content creators have a different need for Magic product. Many content creators need the product to have content to put out there. My biggest problem, why you don't see a ton of stuff getting cracked on my channel, is generally, I'm just another one of the crowd. Like if I'm just cracking to crack, there's nothing different that I'm doing than 1,000 other content creators out there are doing.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not innovative or creative enough to make it special so that people will tune in. So if you're tuning into what I'm saying, it's generally going to be Bob's take on stuff. Sometimes tinfoil hat stuff. There's not a whole lot going on with tinfoil other than they're clearly toying with the list slot. To me, that's the most interesting thing about New Capenna, to be quite frank. I think they got it wrong. I think they really need to tune that down, or you're going to have a lot of upset people going, geez, you just blew up whatever card I had that was on the list. Thanks a lot, Macias, Unhallowed. Anybody who bought that Secret Lair for Stranger Things, that one, I'm just telling you, I feel like that one, unfortunately, if you bought that, oof. That's going to be, I think that's going to be, because they're putting a complete set of them in every single set box. That's just like, wow.
I'm not sure, Savannah Lines, if you're talking about the gilded foil cards out of New Capenna, and that was one of the things that I had put on our outline for tonight. And I was a huge fan. The moment I saw these cards, I was talking, I think, last week with Matt, and we were discussing about some of the different foiling treatments and how we should look for a different type of chase. The way Flesh and Blood does their cold foils, how Vice does their different triangulation patterns and their like lightning bolt patterns. They've got so many different treatments. And honestly, just as far as TCGs go, I don't know much about Vice, but at the same time, I've seen a number of their opening videos. They keep their shit real flat. I don't know how they're doing their printing process, if it's completely different than WotC and what they're doing with Magic the Gathering, but they do some crazy treatments on their cards, and they stay very consistently cardboard flat. Not like the Pringles we're getting out of that WotC stuff.
Yeah, I haven't heard about too much Pringling on New Capenna yet, but we'll just have to wait and see. So I can't speak much on that. I noticed there's. Can we kick him? There's so many variants to look at in this set that it's like I don't even really pay attention to the foils. Understand this. Once upon a time, getting a foil, and if you go for, if you watch
7th edition
fortunate openings of Urza's Legacy, yeah, they get very excited about the foils, as you should, because those were the chase cards. They were kind of like the first chase cards.
They were
like great to get rares.
Yeah.
But I think WotC needs to get back to that level of specialness. You don't have to have 50 different things. Let's put it this way. If somebody opened up a box of Urza's Legacy, they're going to know for a fact that the foils are special.
Oh, yeah.
If they knew nothing about the game, you would say, pick out the 4 most special cards in here.
Holy shit, this one's shiny. Yeah.
Now open a set box of New Capenna. Pick out the special cards. Oh well, I'll put these 8 in this pile and these 8 in this pile, and do you see what I'm saying? It's like, there's too much of that. I would rather they got rid of 5 of the variants in New Capenna. That would have made me much happier. Gone with just the gilded foils, maybe full art. Even if they do a couple of different things, you have regulars with foils, full art with foils, and gildeds, right? That are only foils. Why couldn't they just do that?
So I'm
adjust the rarities of each accordingly.
There were 6 different treatments for New Capenna.
It's
7 different types of treatments you can get on cards.
Does that include the foil and non-foil of each one too?
Yeah, foil, non-foil, gilded, hero, showcase, theme. There's too many.
You get like a showcase and a showcase foil.
Oh,
can't you get a borderless and a borderless foil?
Yeah, so it's almost
in all reality
to fairy, where we've got 13 of the same type of card, but in so many different ways. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to have a gilded treatment of Kaikar for my Kaikar deck. I want a gilded version of Narset, but I also don't want it to be so fucking confusing. I want to be able to open up a pack of Magic cards and say, this one's better than this one. Just because
the thing is, you want them now. But what if they made it as common as Itali? Then you'd be like, meh.
I think, it comes back down to making things special. Making everything special makes it less special. Everything gets a ribbon. There are too many fancy cards. When are hollow cards coming to Magic? I don't know if you mean like a certain type of card treatment or the Yu-Gi-Oh type of thing where like you've got a big band and then the card comes to life out in front of you. That's something we've talked about before. I'd love that.
I kind of want to see NFTs somehow combined into Magic. I think that could help. I think that could help with sort of the collector aspect, but I don't even want to get into that tonight. I understand that's a hot button topic for a lot of people, but I think that's at least an interesting concept. But one of the things I did want to dig into tonight was a little bit. It was the flesh and blood, like we talked about it a little bit earlier. That the prices of the boxes were expected to plummet, specifically for Monarch, the sealed boxes. In case you're not familiar, James White announced the print run numbers at 125,000, and prior to the announcement, the experts, do we want to call them that? Is that fair to say? The Rudy type experts. I don't know who's more expert than him, and
enthusiasts,
Magi, and other people were saying that Monarch print runs, if they were over 100,000, would be just disaster for the first edition boxes. If it was released, that they would be at that level. But they actually have now kind of upticked a little, not tremendously, but just ever so slightly since the announcement. And they went down. They were down around 158, and now they're up around 163, and they kind of flatline there, which I think is a positive and encouraging sort of reaction to the market. And I think it goes to some of what we were talking about last week. And I think if the player base grows, I think that was sort of one of the more telling things, that if you guys haven't watched Unhinged Magi, I would go check out their series, especially if you're interested in Flesh and Blood. And I think the most interesting thing was they were pointing out that James White thought that there were 200,000 Magic or Flesh and Blood players worldwide, just like Magic claims that there's 20 million Magic players, which I don't know how you would gauge either one of those numbers. How do you know how many people are out there playing it?
Yeah.
How do you know who's buying what boxes and at what quantities? My guess is the short answer, they don't know, right? And so you have to trust that the market will price things out appropriately. Basically, supply and demand. Things are only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. But I think it's a positive, encouraging sign that you're seeing some sales and that the prices have stabilized. I agree with that, Savannah Lion. Not just the new Magic Tour is good for Magic, and I think that, Flesh and Blood stepping in when there was that vacuum made the right call to have a tournament scene when Magic had canceled theirs. And I think it made Magic stand up, take notice, and actually return. I think you can thank Flesh and Blood for the return of the Magic the Gathering tournament scene. So I'm not a tournament player myself. I would like to see something geared more towards casual people rather than competitive tournaments, but a more casual format that larger audiences could participate in. There are far more casual players of almost every game out there in existence than there are competitive players, except for chess. Kind of hard to play chess non-competitively. Kind of a silly thing. But there are ways to play Magic in a casual sense, which is why Commander has become so dominant on the scene, because it is considered the casual format. And if WotC ever perks up and listens and, Halt and Catch Fire here makes a PvE co-op version of this, oh my Lord, this game could just explode.
Yeah. I think that seeing a very mainstream figure like Post come in has been really beneficial for the community.
I agree, but I think, WotC needs to sort of not just depend on a big name or big, celebrity to push their product. The product needs to speak for itself.
Oh, absolutely. I just think that so before I got back into Magic, probably 2, maybe 3 years ago, I started getting a D&D, and I never played when I was young, and I've never actually gotten to play as a player character. I've only DM'd, which is kind of interestingly different because you get to play everybody. You're every character. I'm 5 goblins and a wizard and a necromancer behind the scenes. So playing as a DM is sort of a fun, different type of play experience. But when I was getting into that, I'd watched a lot of stuff online, and there's an incredible amount of like famous actors that are playing D&D. So you can see some of that in little one-shots online. So I think Magic's not far behind. If they started embracing into that, they could see a lot of spike in the general community.
Honestly, if you want my take on where I think the bigger holdup is, Magic by design and Flesh and Blood almost completely, which is why James White recognized that and is making a shift away from it, and may be the first one to the punch again here. The PvE. People love co-op. It's just easier and less hostile. And I think Edwin, the Magic engineer, kind of put it the best. Like somebody who's new and wants to come and learn about it. and maybe it was Dan. I can't remember. At any rate, they said, just this is the way it goes. You try to introduce your new friend to Magic, and you sit down and play with them head to head, and like, okay, this is how you play. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, you're dead. Not a great feel good experience because it's either him die or you die. So to create an environment where you can get in, and there are other options other than winning or losing.
Right.
That's the only two options you have
Yeah,
in
have
Magic as a head to head.
up experience. I think you make a great point here. When Diablo, as far as a franchise, it's player versus environment. You load it up, you're going in and you're killing monsters out in the dungeon or in the deserts, the wastes, and then the top tier, the really level up experience is when you go player versus player, head on, me versus another actual experienced player in this game. When you're playing Magic right out the gate, it's player versus player every single time.
Mm-hmm.
To have that PvE, World of Warcraft, that game's been out when I was in high school 20 years ago. Okay, now your main experience playing that game, you load it up, level 1, you're going out and killing rats, player versus environment. It gets you into the game. That's how you start it up. It's a solo experience. Imagine if you could goldfish Magic in a player versus Nico Bolas experience. Wow, holy shit, I can play by myself at my kitchen table. I can have as much fun as I want doing this game. That would be a phenomenal experience. It's great to see flesh and blood as competition. McDonald's makes better burgers if Burger King puts out a bigger Whopper.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I think there's a great analogy using World of Warcraft. The vast majority of players on the World of Warcraft servers are not out there doing PvP in the arena. They're just not. There are a very small subset of players. The PvE in Ultima Online almost ruined the game. It was so bad in the very beginning because they didn't really know how to deal with it, and it had open world PvP where you didn't have to consent to fighting each other.
You just
one person could ruin it for a whole lot of other people. So they created, and it was causing a problem, and people were canceling their subscriptions and whatnot because of this problem. So what they did is every single server that existed, they created a mirror universe within that server. And so on your server, let's say it was Bob's server, you had Bob Faluca and Bob Trammell. And you in the Faluca server, it's just the way it always was with non-consensual PvP, head-to-head, let's duke it out, who's the best. And in Trammell, there was no PvP allowed at all. Well, shortly after they created the Trammell server, or shard is what they called it, they found that 95% of the players spent all of their time in Trammell, meaning 95% of the players that wanted to play this game with lots of other people spent all of their time in the non-PvP, in the PvE environment. It's showing the bulk of people, and you'll find the same in World of Warcraft, which are just the, kind of, they're the shiniest examples we can come up with, that wanted to play in a safer, more casual environment, whether it's Ultima Online, World of Warcraft. And I would venture a guess that if they created a PvE style and maybe even tournament PvE, make it tough, make it difficult. Just because it's PvE does not mean it's easy. If you think it is, go play a game of Lord of the Rings. I get my butt kicked 95% of the time. That is a PvE card game. The problem with that one is there's no draft. It's all constructed, so it's kind of rigid. Not a lot of flexibility in how things are going to go. So the first company that's way smarter than I am that comes up with a legitimate PvE. Now, I think that what the Unhinged Magi we're talking about is sort of like the Arch Enemy Nicol Bolas, which already exists, where you have one player versus many. I'm talking about a true PvE where everybody is against the environment, not against one player. Right. So as soon as we have one of these major card games that has the elements, so let's talk about what's making it appealing for everybody and sort of putting your peanut butter together with your chocolate, right? And that is people love ripping wrappers. I think we all universally agree for the money that's involved. Right? People love PvE in general. More people love PvE than PvP, evidenced all over the place. If you can combine those things in a game, you're gonna have a massive hit on your hands, right?
Mhm.
If you could have the potential of pulling that $100 card in a PvE card game, right? To where the format is you have to crack packs to play. Wow, so many questions here in chat. Savannah's asking, I'm not sure. Savannah, if you're asking what is Arch Enemy? Arch Enemy Nicol Bolas is a special set. I got one for
Just leave it up.
Valentine's Day this year. You should check it out. And it's one player has scheme cards and they're more powerful than the rest. Jake and Joel did a commander version of it. It's a pretty neat thing, but it's one player versus many, basically versus one player versus three. I believe what James White is proposing is 4v0, meaning you're all on the same side and you're playing against the environment. Right? So there has to be some sort of environment deck, some sort of environment schema that makes the mechanics to where you play against a scenario, and you
Still
have
think
to have
like
the game.
a moderately developed program would be one of the best ways to go because
You mean
of
like an app, like an app, companion app?
yeah, exactly.
I agree. And none of us knows how it's going to go. Like if I had James White here, I would.
Okay, I got it. So you buy packs and you scan those cards in to the app for your PvE upgrade experience. So I can go down to my LGS and maybe I don't want to use the app. Oh, some of the cards are like tokens. You put them in front. So you turn them sideways, you interact them with the cards that way. But you're able to scan in a barcode so it represents it on the screen. It, pulls it into the program. It knows that you have those cards because you're able to one time scan it in.
Like there's so many different ways that they could go. I think it's time, especially in this technological age, to come up with more creative ways to play. And if we have to integrate cards with digital or cards with like stickers that are one-time playthrough thing, like you pull the sticker off, right? Think of a way that you could do that. Like, surprise, here's what you have on this. And they're one-time playthrough, you buy the pack, and when it's their turn, you pull the sticker off, and that's the thing that happens, right? So there's just a million different ways that you can come up with stuff that's far more creative than I am. But I am not talking about a 1v many. I'm talking about a PvE, because Arch Enemy Nicol Bolas is not PvE. That's
Right.
3v1.
Someone's that character.
Yes. So, and you can look at a whole host of games. I mean, I didn't mean to get into this, but if you look at one of the great ones out there, it's called Imperial Assault. It has a companion app. Adventures in Middle Earth, Lord of the Rings, has a companion app. I think you have to have it actually in order to play Adventures in Middle Earth from oh god, I can't remember the name of the company. Anyways, it's a really great they're miniature board, they're miniatures, and it's a board game. I believe Descent also has a companion app. There are board games that are incorporating companion apps. And I think that we could easily translate that into a card game with a companion app.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Or how about everybody versus, Nicol Bolas? We have enough arch enemies. Everybody versus Urza, you could do all of these different things. And what Pat's talking about is having different packs of different types.
Got you can upgrade for difficulty. If you want easy, there's 2 lieutenants. So now you have 2 planeswalkers that you have the option of tacking, and then you've got your king, up at the top. If you want to upgrade to medium, there's planeswalkers, and then there's more, fodder down at the bottom. There's all sorts of ways the game could go. And I think it just comes down to designing.
If you look at there's a series of board games, but they're really just card games, because the board just tells you where, like it's just zones, like a playmat that where you put out your cards, and it's called Legendary. There's Legendary Marvel, Legendary Aliens, Legendary Predator, legendary Firefly, and it's a team versus the game. There's no AI. The randomness is you take the enemy decks and it's made up of several different types of cards. You shuffle them together, and you could even do that like without even knowing what the cards are. You don't need an app. It's just that the mechanics of the game, everybody's each turn, you take one card off the enemy deck, and then certain things will happen and might say, okay, now go get a card out of this deck. Might be a surprise event. So now go get a card out of the event deck, and you put that into play. So there's so many different mechanics that you could introduce that could make it just absolutely amazing. And you could have that in a random fashion from the collectible card aspect rather than the solely pre-constructed like in Legendary or in Lord of the Rings. You could have truly random mechanics if they put their heads together and come up with it in a desire. And I think there's a much, much larger audience that would be interested in that. It's far more approachable to like, hey, you want to come play with us? You might lose, but if you lose, we all lose. So we all need to win this, right? That co-op aspect is far more inviting than, hey, you want to come over here and I'll beat your face in?
That's one of the things that comes up a lot in our pod is one person in particular has a real bad penchant for not wanting to lose. He'll do anything at any cost to not lose the game. Board wipe over and over and over 3, 4, 5 times in one game, 2 hours for a 4-person game of Commander. Just because he doesn't want to lose. Now, if he took that type of dedication and put it into a 4 versus big boss battle, oh my God, I would love that. This guy is now a paladin to me. He's got life-giving techniques. He's going and he's swinging for real hard. That would be a great shift in the way that a Magic community would put things together. The cutthroat mechanic. Oh, we can play with this guy at 1,000 health and we'll still beat his ass. I'd love to see that type of thing.
Yeah, I think there's ways that you could even do that with tournaments. You know what I mean? Like have timed tournaments. Here's the scenario you guys are going to have to get through, and have judges at each table watching to make sure people don't cheat. And and the first team that gets through it, advances to the next round and plays in the next scenario, and so on and so on and so on. They did it with Lord of the Rings to a degree. They even had like connected the table somehow. There was like a massive scenario that connected multiple different types of scenarios at different tables with different groups, and they what each group would do would affect groups at other tables. So it was kind of crazy. But I'm just saying it's time for the game to grow after 30 years rather than just coming up with, kind of new formats with the same old in different ways. And I think that you can have a fundamental shift. And that, I don't think it needs to take away from the current builds. Like the people that want to still smash head to head and do those things, keep that avenue open. But I think WotC would do well to start following sort of I think it's good. I think it's good that Flesh and Blood is doing that, and I'm definitely going to support it. I'll take their first stab at it. I'm going to look at it and make sure it's what they claim it to be. But it's called Flesh and Blood 2.0, and if they get that PvE going, yeah, count me in. I'm down with that. And if Magic ever comes up with that, count me in for that.
Oh my God, it would be a wonderful experience playing a competitive and cooperative experience together.
And if you think I throw a lot of money at the game now, if they made it co-op and combined it with the gambling aspect with expensive cards, woo, gives a whole new meaning to Cube.
And I think it would be a great way to, like, the loot aspect of Diablo and pretty much every RPG. When you go in, that's what we want out of Magic. Really, is we want an upgrade card. Even Streets of New Capenna, you got it right up behind you. It made me think of it. That new awesome sword from Streets of New Capenna. People want that type of an upgrade to their character. So if I've got my commander out, okay, Narset, that girl's a beast. You throw that sweet sword in her hand, awesome. Feels like an upgrade. Now that's what we do when we're playing a game. You know, if you're playing a Dishonored, okay, you get an awesome upgrade for your character. Super cool. Diablo, you roll the dice, it's got some prefixes, some suffixes. It's just the right thing for your character. Now you have that type of loot experience when you beat the boss's character. You kill a lieutenant, and now you get a plus up for your character. Everybody on your team gets +5/+5. So, you know, a token of flying or some such. You get an emblem on the game. I'd love for Magic to be able to introduce something like that, because you can get that gambling aspect that everybody wants out of Magic when they're opening a pack. When you're playing the game, any type of game, you want that upgrade. And that's what it's about. And if you're doing player versus environment,
you talk about the Diablo loot machine. Yeah. People love that. And there's no reason that you can't have that even during your gameplay, rather than just during the pack cracking part. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That during the gameplay you upgrade. Might not even be yours, might be your buddy's card, but you get to equip the, new super pooper sword of Crush It All. You know, there's different ways they can do it. As a matter of fact, I even pulled up it's very light, and I was hoping that they had mention of it, because James White did a great article on Fab 2.0, but Rudy talked about it with the phone call that he had with James White, and when he asked him to describe it, and he said it's going to be akin to playing Dungeons and Dragons or Diablo. So unfortunately, that doesn't really go into tremendous detail here, but player versus environment will be our flagship social play product. It will see players band together in campaign settings that can be as long or as short as your party wants. It's not about winning or losing, but having an epic adventure with friends and fellow gamers where swords, shields, pizza, and beers collide. We're putting a lot into PvE, and our expectation, along with that of many eagerly awaiting fans, is very high. PvE is currently under development, and we are working to make it as good as possible. Now, I wish they would give some more specific details, especially when we start getting into the gray areas of PvE, because I hate to say it, love you guys over at Unhinged Magi, but PvE does not mean the E is not somebody else, right? It's not player versus else or player versus everyone. PvE stands for player versus environment. So I would like to see them spell that out a little bit more here. And indeed, it would be a far more social gameplay experience. So I disagree when they think it's going to be one great player against everybody else at the table. I don't think so. I think it's going to be everybody at the table versus some sort of built-in environment that the game is providing itself. Yeah. Plane chases, all these different things that Savannah's mentioning. You're on the right track, Savannah, for sure. And I'm not saying that should cut into I'm not really sure what he means by it's spelled out. Savannah says that it's spelled out. I didn't see it like clearly spelled out, and maybe I'm just dumb. I am dumb, but
it does leave a bit of ambiguity for who's in control of that environment, as it were, for the whether it be someone at the kitchen table or if it's controlled in some other aspect. You know, maybe I imagine, since it's called Flesh and Blood, that they're probably staying away for some electronic control over it. So even at best, you're rolling dice or doing something else for that interaction.
I'll tell you what, if you've never played any of the Legendary games, those are co-op, and they are absolutely phenomenal games to play. And I lose quite a bit depending on which one it is. Some are just absolutely brutal, like not possible to win. But that doesn't have an electronic component, and it's multiple players against the environment. There's nobody playing the enemy. The enemy deck just kind of plays itself out, and there's enough randomization that you can't predict what's going to happen. Lord of the Rings does it in a little different fashion. Arkham Horror does it a little different. So there are ways to do it for sure. And it's just going to take some creative thinking on the part of a collectible card game to figure out how to do it. What I hope is they don't come up with like Blitz precon deck kind of things or like Commander precon decks where there's no variability and it is a way to play PvE, but it's all preset. Because then you can just take advantage, find the weakness and exploit that.
Right. Every time you know against it, how it works out. Yeah.
You always figure out the
Mm.
easy thing to take advantage of, and then you just exploit it. But
Well,
I'm excited. The fact that they're talking about it is just
you
outstanding.
specifically design the boss yourself. Like when you have a pod and you're playing in a certain way, you design a deck against your pod. Maybe you design the commander, for the environment to be specific against your pod. You go and you tune that up.
Yeah, I think that, we're kind of thinking in limited terms, so I'm excited to see what they come up with. The fact that they're talking about a PvE in a collectible card game is phenomenal. Hopefully they get it, even if it's not right at first. Hopefully they tune it.
So, do you think that cards from the Vault series and pre-release are pseudo reserve list cards, things particularly difficult to get? Gold stamped release cards. Supposedly, at one point coming up, we're supposed to see store specific cards were talked about at one point. Do you think cards like that, because of how rare they are like these neon print cards, pseudo reserve lists because they're not going to get reprinted in such specificity?
Yes.
Well, see, there we go.
Can you bring up that comment from Sherry? See, there you go. Already, she didn't speak up a whole lot, but when she does, she'd play it. And that's what I think. I think it would introduce the game to so many more people, right? And then you would have those people that were drawn in for the co-op versions. Okay, maybe I'll try the other different formats, right? I think that broadening the format base or the different styles could bring oodles. That's right. I said oodles of new players to the game and really expose them for something that would just take over like a phenomenon. And yes, pause. I believe that that's correct, along with secret layers. Serialized cards within the secret layers are like a reserve list within the reserve list kind of thing. I hate the reserve list with the passion. I do. I think it's poopy. As a matter of fact, and I love you, Moxman, and man, I'm just pissing everybody off tonight. You ready for me to piss off Moxman, who I dearly love?
We're 2 hours in. Nobody's gonna watch this point.
Nobody's watching. So Moxman just recently was talking about how we need to be careful that they're pricing out the new players, the younger players, the new blood, the blah blah blah. Okay, what do you think the reserve list does,
bro?
So I was like, Moxman, this is exactly my argument why the reserve list should not exist.
Like, you can print any card on a printer. Some of these cards that they put in packs are blank, so you can just write whatever you want on them. So, I mean, you can make your own proxies. I don't know if you're planning on going to a tournament. Pause. Savannah, Sherry, anybody in the comment section below. Are you planning on going to a tournament? If not, do you want to use proxies? If it's $100 card and you want to put it in your deck, would you rather just print it out and just play with it that way? I've got 3 decks that are just cut up little pieces of paper off of my printer at work because it comes in color. Slide in a common, put this card in front of it. Hey, now it's Growing Rights of Iklamok. Phenomenal.
I agree with what you're saying there, but you're cutting off some of these younger phenoms that do want to go play in tournaments, but just don't have the money for it, especially for things that are reserve list. It's funny because the people that jealously guard the reserve list so much are the ones that are clamoring and complaining that there should be more people playing vintage. And I think more people would if there was no reserve list. I think it would be healthy. And I think that it might even help increase the cost of many of the older cards that are not on the reserve list if you abolish the reserve list. Would it make some of those reserve list cards go down? Yep. Would it make some of the non-reserve list cards go up? Yep. Because suddenly those older birds of paradise are going to, wait a minute. So the reserve list is printed in these other crappy reserve lists I never play with. Wait, these things are playable. Oh, hey, birds of paradise should be worth $20,000 for beta or alpha. So I think that there's going to be a trade-off for the value, and that shouldn't hurt the game regardless. And there are cards that are needed for formats, such as the dual lands, until they print out a better dual land, which they can do because I won't violate the reserve list in any fashion. There's no place I've ever seen printed saying they won't print better cards than the versions that are on the reserve list. But let's say, they got rid of that. You would have newer blood coming into different tournaments. It would help the tournament scene, and I think it could help increase new blood into Magic. And I agree with Moxman. We shouldn't price out new blood, but by the same token, neither should the reserve list. I think that the game should be all about bringing people in, about true inclusivity. Bring new people in. Everything you can do. Make Fortnite, cards. Make all different kinds of different things that reach out to a wider audience of people. De-geeking it by getting celebrities. I think that one of the biggest things is most people don't even know Magic freaking exists. It doesn't exist in mainstream. Nikachu said, make, not manga, but anime. Hire an anime group to make Magic anime. Do all of these things. Put your advertisements out there. Where are most of Magic's advertisements?
In Magic products.
After you've already bought it. Geez, thanks for getting the word out. What the fuck? Sorry, I didn't mean to drop that. It's probably going to demonetize, but seriously, what a dumb advertising scheme. So, they need to do all of this is the answer, right? Make Magic great again.
Yeah, right. Make Magic great again. I love the idea that I can just use a proxy, like a little slice of a piece of paper cut out and stuck in a penny sleeve, and all my friends are doing the same thing. And because we stick to a certain power level, we all agree $250 to $300 in value is pretty much where we want to play cards. It limits the shenanigans that go on. You have to have great synergy, and we have a great rule 0. We sit around and we talk about what we want to get out of Magic. And because there's a value attached along with some of these cards, that seems to be a way to put things around.
So if you could bring up Coach's comment there too, the new players don't want to play Vintage anyways. The reserve list would help Vintage. My point is more for Commander. Okay, let's just list off a handful of cards that most people would love to have reprinted. And I love you, Coach. Don't get me wrong. I'm not picking on you per se. But new players specifically, let's go with this line of thinking. New players. If you have a new player coming into Magic, if you have a friend you're going to introduce to Magic, what format are you going to recommend most, Pat?
Honestly, Commander.
Okay. So how many Commander cards are on the reserve list?
Magic. Commander wasn't a thing. I was playing in high school. So like 2004, 2005, 06, Commander wasn't really a thing. If it was, I had no idea about it. I didn't know that investing into Magic was a thing. I don't know if that was a thing at that point. But nowadays, I've got to say, Commander is almost the purity of Magic.
Yeah, no, and so my point is that people don't want to play with the second-rate cards. They don't want to play with the second-best cards. People don't want to have the tap dual land come into play. People don't want to have the slow fetch lands from Mirage.
Right.
Okay, do you understand where I'm going with this?
Well, there's no reason that they couldn't make so the OG dual lands, except it says cycling 4.
I mean here's the thing: just the reserve list, it hurts the game.
It does. I
pure and simple. We can debate this all night long, and I'm going to win. Sorry, but it hurts the game. overall. It stops other people from being interested in it. It hurts the new players from coming in. And yeah, you can't really get into competitive EDH and go to competitive EDH tournaments without some of these staple cards. And your Gaia's Cradles and your Mox Diamonds and Survivals of the Fittest and Yawgmoth's Wills and on and on and on and on and on. So by keeping them artificially high because they're on the reserve list rather than being high because the older version is rare and should be valuable because it's a playable rare card, I think a lot of that money would drift out of janky bullshit reserve list cards that don't deserve to have any value whatsoever. Yeah. And then some of the older cards that are actually playables and old and rare because they're old and playable.
Speaking of, go up in value. I dislike the card, but Soldevi Excavations, why should that be $100? It's no fucking monocrypt. Monocrypt. Why is that $100? Yeah, well, I agree with you because there's a limit on the amount that they were ever able to make. That's what it's set at. So because of the rarity, you have a price point. And Magic's not making, Wizards of the Coast doesn't make money off it. Hasbro doesn't increase their quarterly because they're not making those cards again. If they did, they'd make bank. Probably more than any frivolous lawsuit they'd have to go against litigiously. And they wouldn't. I mean, let's just be honest. There's no actual contractual agreement that says we won't ever reprint these cards. There's nothing. It's, if anything, people that would have sued would have needed to have done so decades ago. Bring the heat. Yeah, put it down in the comment section below if you want to get into it. We'd love to. I enjoyed that conversation. Fuck them.
Yeah,
fuck them.
I mean, I didn't even want to drift into that conversation, but I just thought it was kind of amusing where you have the same person that's screaming that we should make the product available and affordable to the new players because they're critical. I agree with Moxman on that. I agree with him wholeheartedly about new players are critical for Magic to survive, or it will die with an older generation. But by the same token, he doesn't want to get rid of the reserve list cards. It's like, okay. But I think the path forward and out of this, and you brought up the very card that is the poster child for the right way to do it. And that is the Masterpiece Soul Ring. A card that is printed every 2 months in every commander deck that they print. Nobody's complaining about that, and it's not making that Joker go down in price at all. If anything, it might be forcing it higher.
I'm going to pull it up.
Special versions of things that are sought after.
So let's go ahead. I'm going
don't make 5,000. If they made, 50 different Masterpiece versions of Soul Ring, then probably the Masterpiece Soul Rings would go down. This is when, making everything special makes nothing special.
So Soul Ring, Beta Soul Ring. Let's average that out. $1,750 for a Soul Ring. Because it's old. Well, they don't make more old things. They make more of the same thing, but new. Now, Alpha, well, shit, you're looking at $2,700. I mean, and all these new printings, $2, 2 and change, $1.99, $1.84. Ooh, I might buy some of those for $1.84. That's a pretty good price. $1.77, pretty good price. Hey guys, $1.77. Check those ones out. But if you want some of these, the invention. Now, this came out. Look at that price. Look at this chart. That's phenomenal. They don't make more of these cards.
No, I agree. And I think this is the much more correct way than Neon Ink. Who gives a shit about Hidegetsu? Do you have crushing desire to put them in your decks? Nobody I know.
I honestly couldn't even tell you what it does, but I know what the Nautilus ship does from Commander Legends 2. I think it's a fucking beast. That's an auto include. Jeweled Lotus, that's a real card.
Now imagine if they had Jeweled Lotus with a Masterpiece. Let's say they put one Masterpiece of one chase card in every set, but only in the first printings of it. And then
Or
just print it as much as you want.
like that etched, the gilded foil that they did in New Capenna. If you had that on like a super fancy arcane signet, where it shines perfectly, really done, artistic, a nice touch to it, that's a really premium product. That's why you make it worth the price tag attached to it. Soul Ring, you make it fancy, you put a price tag on it.
So actually, perhaps I'm not clear. Maybe we could bring up Savannah's comment about now, Bob. So I'm actually thrilled to death that you have those, and I think that's the right way to do it. I said, who gives a shit about Hitagetsu? But what I'm getting at is the people that have the neon inks care about it, and the people that want the neon ink ones care about it, and I think that's the right way to do it. Do you care how many Hitagetsus got printed? Nope, so long as they're not in neon ink. And that's the right way to do it. You have to make scarcity, even if you call it artificial scarcity. But then you don't go printing Hitagetsu in a special version again for a long time. There are thousands of cards that are perfectly playable. And if you want me to name one that would get just absolutely lit up and it's still in print if they came out with a super special neon ink masterpiece version of it, consider. It's a common. But if they made a chase-ass version of that thing, woo!
I'd rather have that than most of the cards that they're putting in that type of slot.
How about a super duper meat hook massacre? They keep making great cards, and if they just follow, they've already found the right way to do this and to build value and to build confidence. They did it with the masterpieces. You don't even have to have, they proved it with Hitagetsu. You don't even have to have multiple masterpieces in the same set like they did with Kaladesh, right?
Yeah.
One is enough for people to chase, and it will sell boxes. That's how you sell boxes. That's how you allow yourself to reprint the bejesus out of things to allow things to be more playable. Let's say they break the reserve list, right? But every time they do it, they're printing a masterpiece version of it.
Oh,
and then they're going to print as many as they want. Then they just print a bunch of white-bordered ones for all I care. Right? People would love that shit.
Yeah, they'd gobble that up. It would make it, and you could do it in every single series. A theme for every one. If it's Kaldheim, you have some sort of frozen version to it. An icy theme. Sure. A guy's cradle out of Kamigawa, and the whole city is ruinous and it's overgrown, and now it's all the creatures are giving more life. You have a theme for every single set it is.
Yeah. I agree. See, Savannah, there are so many ways you could go with this. That's how you create a sustainable pseudo reserve list. Was that pause that got into this hole you considered reserve list topic? Damn you, pause. I agree with Coach's statement there too. I think they should cut back the production numbers.
I'd enjoy having a guy's cradle. I think it would be fun to mess around with Scute Swarm and Migratory Greathorn, double that up a couple of times, have some sort of crazy landfall action. I'm doing an Omnath deck going wide, and I think it would be great to have a guy's cradle. I saw someone go through the process of getting the growing rights to work out. He was doing an Omnath, but the green one. I was doing the 4-color. It was fun. Good back and forth. I think having some of that power, if you want to go to higher levels, you should be able to bring that in. And because they're so restrictively expensive, you're not able to have that fun. Bit of a friggin' bummer to Pat.
No, I pause. Pause is apologizing here. You're fine. I'm just saying it's I'm sorry, your question. I didn't. Oh boy, I don't know what question you asked there. Pause. You said something about a growing rights of Itlamok. So pause. If you could please rephrase your question that you wanted my take on or our take on again. If I see them as reserve list, sort of. I think that that's special printings of things. So long as they don't keep making special printings of a thing. If you want to look at it that way, like look at Basic Lands, right? Full art Basic Lands were like, woo, all the way from Unglued, and then they just put them in every single set now. So stop with the full art Basic Lands.
So it's what, $4, and I can get pretty much any card printed with a fake back on it. So maybe $5 shipped, taxes included, $6. Anything I wanted, printed on a card, shipped to my door. So that's how much it would cost me if I want an invention in a proxy version. Why would I want a proxy version of an invention? Probably wouldn't. Maybe go ahead, get Doubling Season. Now I've got that in a fake version I can put in a deck, and now I can have fun with it. There's no reason that it has to be $85.
Yeah, I mean, I like special printings of things, and I tend to target special products. One of the ones that's been on my mind at the $500 price point, if Artie Coy is still listening out there, I've spoken with him about this. There's he had asked me if I had $500 to throw at something right now, what would I target in MTG? I think we talked about it last week. Maybe. Do you remember what that was, Pat?
It was on the round table, maybe?
Was it on the round table? Whatever it was. I mean, we can bring it up if you want. But these are the type of things that, Gaming Bob, for tinfoil hat, you should love this, Savannah. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I talked about it with you on the stream. See if I can't find it real quick. Oh, boy. So here we go. I have it. Oh, I didn't realize there was more of these. You share my screen right quick. Sorry for that being absolutely stellar content here. But I'll show you. Like, I love these one-offs. One of them was Arch Enemy Nicol Bolas that I asked for my Valentine's Day gift. So I'm sharing the screen. If you want to bring that up, Pat. Right there. So this is another one of those special products.
That's 5 4s. That's 5 4s.
It is 5 4s. So if you added it all up, it'd be 20. But it's the Mythic Edition War of Spark. If you're not familiar with what they are basically packs of War of the Spark. But every pack, and there's 8 of them, 8 special packs, has a alt art only in these edition foil planeswalkers that are just stunning. But there were only, if it says it right there, limited to 12,000 units. Think about that. If there's 20 million Magic players and there's only 12,000 units, right? I mean, you're talking about rares, less frequent than like Legends rares, right? If you look at the print numbers.
Go down just a bit so I can see that chart.
Does it scroll with me or? So they dropped from 5. I might just do this.
Now that's pretty dang
impressive. Creeping back up, but
I mean,
I might have to do this.
The original price when it came out, and then it bottoms out.
It's not when it came out. It came out years ago. I don't remember what they were. There was a big stink around this, but yeah. So the point is, I love, for you to answer your question in a very long roundabout way, pause. I love special sort of fringe things. I think that they have more value. The game nights. Matter of fact, I bought one of the game nights 2019 off Amazon. They had it on sale for $29. They're like 50 something or 60 something bucks now. Let me see. I can even bring that up maybe. But that's another one. It's like one-offs. It's, you know what's in there.
Well, niche collectibles. I mean, you're absolutely right, Savannah. That's what this is. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that play Magic the Gathering. A large amount of people are into this hobby, but at the same time, this is a niche. This is a reasonably small, notably large, but small community. At the same time, this is trading back and forth. You know, it's interesting.
What happens? I'll answer Coach's question. So, good question, Coach. And clearly, this is just my opinion. So, opinions are like bungholes. We all have them, and they all stink. But if you take stock in what I'm saying, it doesn't really matter. They're not going back and reprinting. They only made 12,000. So you can reprint them all you want. But that edition,
version,
like what Pat was saying, you can't go back and reprint alphas. You can't reprint betas, and you're not going to reprint
Judge
Mythic
promo
Edition from 2017 or 18, whenever that was printed out. Was War Spark 2017?
Of Judge promos, very quickly you realize that because of that single printing of a card, just because it's different is worth more. A Viscera Seer, a regular Viscera Seer out of Commander Legends, regular printing forwards, cards like 16 cents. It's freaking garbage. It's not a good card. Now, because you printed it backwards and you put a stamp on it and you say, this is 1 out of 100. Now it's special. When you make inventions of a Soul Ring, because there are so few of that printing, now it's special. So you do something like this. There's only 12,000 Mythic Edition War of the Spark. Now those are special. When they came, I doubt they were $444.
No, they were pretty expensive. I don't remember what they were. I think they were like around 400 if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look back at it. The point being, that sealed entity itself, keeping it sealed, like this goes back to it, makes it, out of the 12,000 that were printed, how many were opened? So now you only have 6,000 of that thing, 5,000, 4,000, 3,000, however many got destroyed, opened, whatnot. I am a big fan of these specialty products kept sealed. So I don't care if they reprint it. Because if you want a premium, look at a sealed collector's edition. One that still has the wrapper on it. There are so few of those because people didn't give a shit about them. Look at a sealed, international collector's edition that only had 10,000. So I don't remember what the print numbers are, 15,000 or something like that, maybe printed. They gave the print numbers, but they're similar in the print run numbers of the Mythic Edition. And I'm not saying, just Mythic Edition, and I don't care if they reprint them. That would be a reprint unless they reprint the exact same thing, which, that would be a shame. And then it would probably be a little bit of a problem. But a better version, I don't care. And if they print them in lower numbers, then good. That's the way that you should do it. But I don't think it'll destroy the value of the old Mythic Edition, because that in and of itself is its own product being sealed. And you crack it open and pull the Planeswalkers out, that could be a little problematic. But keeping it sealed, woo.
I guess there's nothing that would really stop reprintings littered about in different ways. I think we're seeing now in the newest iteration of the list spot in New Capenna, we're seeing a different delivery in that spot there. We're seeing a different way to put cards in, whether it's from secret layer versions. We might see reprintings here and there. Imagine in Commander Legends 2 Battle for Baldur's Gate, because they're doing a set booster, maybe in that list spot, they're going to really juice things up. We've seen Vampiric Tutor come out of the newest ones. I think we could continue to see that type of good stuff in the next sets.
So to answer your question, Coach, I don't care if they reprint the single cards within them. You're missing my point that sealed Mythic Edition is its own entity as a whole, with all the packs intact in it, with the wrapper still on it. You can't put that in the list slot. You'd have to reprint the entire product. And I have never seen them go back and start reprinting boxes of Fallen Empires, reprinting boxes of, even things that are not on the reserve list, Mercadian Mask. They're not reprinting Prophecy as a sealed set. And I doubt that they'll reprint the game nights. I'm not talking about the individual cards within these specialty sets, Coach. I'm talking about the specialty sets themselves in a sealed capacity.
Oh, I'm close to some cats here, Bob. And I pulled this up earlier because we were talking about this. Shit, probably like 90 minutes ago. We've been doing a pretty good stream. Big ups. Thank you for hanging out with me so long. You too, down in their comment section. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Yeah.
Looks like
don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah. Do that thing.
Yeah, Sherry, I need that subscription. Thank you. Honestly, for putting up with Bob, thank you.
Whoa, hey.
It looks like I've got 2 boxes of Infinity, $99.18, and
nice.
1 box of the Collector at $193.
Ooh, I didn't even look at the new price of the Collectors. What are they at?
I think it went up like $1. But I would doubt that doesn't soon reflect this increase in prices. Wow.
Yeah, I bet you're glad you grabbed those $99 ones.
Did we talk about the price hike yet?
We brought that up. I showed the picture.
Yeah, 11%. That's going to be incredible. I think the pricing in Double Masters 22 is going to be really pushing what people are able to pay, which is already an issue.
Well, I mean, it's not going to stop there. You know what's going to stop when they cross that line of what I call with my friend. It's called a price cliff. There is a set point for any item in the world that you just, even if people want it, I really want a Corvette, but $100,000 is just a bit more than I can afford for a car. I really want,
like an hour.
I don't
know.
I
want a Corvette too, but am I willing to pay for a 1968 Corvette brandy new? No, I'm probably not. If they make new Corvettes, even if they're a bit more expensive, would I want one? Maybe for the price. But when these new sets of cards come out, when Commander Legends 2 Battle for Baldur's Gate starts coming in at a higher price point, is it worth buying into? It really depends on what they're putting into the product. So it comes down to checking out if it's worthwhile to you to buy into it.
They're going to keep ratcheting up until they hit that price cliff, till they hit the wall, and players just go, nope. $500 for a box is just too much, or $1,000 for a box, or $5,000. There's going to be a point at which they don't sell their product.
Right. Oh, I absolutely agree. But I don't think we're near close to that, which is what's really surprising. Is I can imagine draft boxes being 149 out the gate, set boxes being 175, and collectors being 250 out the gate.
I think you're off on the collectors. I think people would go up $300 easily.
Well, and that's the thing, is it won't be long before we start seeing how far they'll push it. But with these ancillary products, I think it's that route that they're going to go with, the really expensive products, the double masters. I mean, Masters 22, it's what, $75 for an individual pack, $300 for 4 15 card packs.
I think it was like $280, something like that.
So,
and I'm gonna. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I have to wait and see. Like, that's
$70 a
like I said,
pack.
that's been my target for the year, and I have money stacked up waiting to pull the trigger on it. Here's the thing: is I don't think we're gonna see that one drop in price, like standard sets. I think when those things come out, especially the one and done print runs, oof. I mean, they would just have to be El Stinko, but it's gonna be one of those.
Yeah. And that's one of the crazy things is, okay, I'm gonna, what are we, 2 hours 40 minutes in? Okay, let's be a little bit raw here. I'm really looking forward to people opening Double Masters 22 right when it comes out. You know, opening weekend, I'm gonna blow myself up. I'm gonna do that one more time. Opening weekend, when they start doing that, we're going to see people wasting huge amounts of money by opening up sealed product of Double Masters 22 when it comes out. We're going to see people just ripping wrappers, going crazy with it. When Double Masters, the first one came out, people went wild with it. Go back to time of the release for it. Everybody was opening it up. Cool. Now look at those boxes being $1,000. What did they make off of opening the video, selling the cards, all that? What if they just waited? Double their money. Now the same thing's going to come up. We're going to see all the big creators rip wrappers. We're going to see Rudy do it. We're going to see Joey do it. Shit, the professor's going to do it. Everyone. Now imagine if they just kept it sealed, and a year from now, we see them double their money keeping it sealed.
Yeah, the trick is to find the ones, like if that's the time horizon that you're looking at, you know, your money doubling, tripling, and whatnot. You can find plenty of examples of things that have doubled or tripled since they're released. I mean, just basically a 1-year-old product times 5 remastered is virtually doubled.
Yeah, you were saying what, 180, and now open market 319.
170 is what I got my boxes at.
Yeah, so that'd be 340. So absolutely,
Commander Legends collector boxes are, you know, pushing $700, and they were $220.
Yeah,
Double Masters, which is a little over a year and a half or almost 2 years old now, started out at 300, and now they're pushing 800 to 1,000. So I mean, you know, that's just recently. And there's other.
I don't have to do the pack cracking. I can do the playing. That's my thought on that one, Savannah. Is all of these other people can go ahead, open the packs for me. I'll go ahead. I'm going to keep that sealed product sitting in a shelf, but I'll get those cards into my deck because other people are filling that need to do it.
Or just make proxies.
Right. I've got a great color printer at work. I can cut that up with a fancy pair of slivers, stick it, you know, scissors, stick slivers. It in the sleeve. Well, hey, maybe they start reprinting some slivers. I would love to see sliver again.
There you go. Scissor sliver.
Oh my God. Yeah. Scissor slivers.
There you go. There you go. Hashtag scissor sliver.
Scissor slivers.
But that would be a tough one for people to say. No, I agree with you 100%. And realize that when you're cracking, like I'm not gonna lie, with my friend, we cracked open Modern Horizons 2, and I enjoyed the shit out of it. And then I had a hard time stuffing it in my collection because I've already cracked so much of it. But I have a good amount of sealed waiting. Maybe I'm not even going to sell, but just I get to show off in 5, 10, 15 years if I'm still breathing, and like open a really super valuable box of something with friends because it's kind of just cool to do that.
Well, you have the option. I mean, imagine if you put up one box of sealed Commander Legends collectors, you put that up for 700, right? Sell that off, and now you can get 2 more boxes of Double Masters 22.
Yeah, well, I'm fortunate enough that I can buy I have a budget. I can buy what I'm comfortable with. I'll run into a storage space issue, to be quite honest, in just a couple of short years here. If I keep going at the rate that I've been going. And I realize that Commander Precons are really kind of a terrible long hold for space. Like they take up a tremendous amount of space. So I'm coming to that sort of crux where, I have to be conscious of long-term storage if I want to keep buying the new fancy schmancy sets. So I'm going to probably just start targeting the ones that I really want for long-term hold. And, I'm learning this whole collector aspect of it. And to be quite frank, you know what? People, if I sell my stuff, they're going to be paying for my discipline for years. Yeah. That I was disciplined enough not to crack Urza's Legacy. Not to crack, whatever it is, it's going to be super valuable. And they're paying for my discipline of staring at that box and resisting the urge to crack that joker open.
It's like that pack of Invasion earlier. The longer you wait to open it, the more worthwhile that pack is not to have opened.
Oh, I love every time I show this and people go, crack that, Bob. You going to crack it? Crack it. No, not happening.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe what's his name? The guy from Magnolia. Crack and Pack MTG. No, I think it's Crack and Pack's MTG. I think is what it's called. Yeah. Sounds like a really affable guy. He's the one that opened the Walmart mystery power box and got the revised pack out of it. And just the speed at which he decided, gonna open it and turned it into, I can't remember. It was some garbage.
Turned it into nothing.
I think it was like what's the Death Lace? I think was his rare. Like a 50-cent rare.
That's not very
$300 pack. That's a way to take $300 and turn it into 50 cents real quick.
Yep.
I think he did get a soul ring though. So he took a $300 pack and turned it into $15. It's like, oh God. That's true, Coach. And I'll say I am certainly not an expert on the selling aspect of this. I can put people in touch with people that do sell a lot, that are the hustlers. I know somebody who drops $300,000 a year in Magic. So you want to talk about somebody that knows how to sell Magic? That's a guy to talk to. Even Moxman has more experience than I do in it. I certainly have a fundamentally sound take on buying stuff that is theoretically going up in value. At least that's what all the tickers tell me. But yeah, I agree. There should be some sort of exit strategy if you're doing this purely for an investment standpoint. Have a goal, have a budget. First thing to do is make sure that you're financially in a place to be doing whatever it is you're doing with the investment. Second, set a budget. Third, have an exit strategy. That would be the way that you should approach buying the Magic. And I highly recommend learning about the game if you really want to understand your investment.
Ooh. I've got to say, Savannah, EV is a strange thing. Your expected value of opening a pack and or a box of sealed cards to turn them into singles. Will newer sets have the same appeal as older sets? Well, if you're planning on opening something like the stuff that Joey's doing over on his channel, if you're going to turn a $17,000 sealed box into $3,000 of singles, it's probably not worth it. But if you want to take something like an Ikoria box bought at $90 when the expected value is now $140 and you open it up, maybe that's when you want to do it. But it's also got to be worthwhile to open it for you, because that sealed product could also keep going up, like Pause is doing with his Dominaria boxes. You open that up, you're probably turning a $220 sealed product into $120.
Don't get me started again, Savannah. Don't get me started.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. Now, you continue to wait on a sealed product, even something like Crimson Vow. If you wait 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, Crimson Vow is going to be worthwhile to have kept sealed. It just seems to be the way that this market works, because people just want to open packs. I know I want to. That's why I do what I do on my channel. But I also indulge in having actual conversations about Magic, which is also why I do what I do on my channel. Thank you again, Bob.
Yeah. Hey, no, thanks. Dude, clearly. And thanks for all the audience members for sitting here 3 hours into this, listening to us. I enjoy talking about Magic. I enjoy thinking about Magic, and I do think about it in an inordinate amount of time and spending a crazy amount looking at numbers, and I share my journey with all of you. You know, I'm learning just like many people do. And I would say that the big thing about cracking packs, that's not evil to do.
Oh, hey, thanks, Lance.
Because we're low on your priority list, Lance.
Yeah. It's because we start earlier than Dual Brain, but we go also way longer than him most of the time, too.
So know why you're cracking packs. I'm not saying that cracking packs is evil. As a matter of fact, there was just a perfect example of cracking packs. And I pay him to crack some packs. And guess what? It's not a terrific financial bargain, but I am enjoying the experience. And so when I'm paying Lance to open packs for me, it's because I want to be part of that crowd at that moment from my couch, enjoying the experience of it. And so if you're cracking it at home for yourself for whatever reason, on channel, whatnot, understand why you're cracking it. Now, if you're cracking it because you think you're going to make money at it, then I would say talk to more experienced people, because I could show you time after time. Just go look at the entire series of the professor's videos about the booster box game.
Yeah.
And you're losing. Look at every box opening Joey's done recently with older boxes. I could go on and on and on about that. Understand what you're cracking for. Like when you're cracking a pack, ask yourself the question, why am I cracking this? Is it because I'm bored? Is it because I'm trying to show off? Is it because I'm trying to entertain other people? Is it because I want to be part of a community like with Lance? And I'm not bashing Lance at all. As a matter of fact, I highly recommend it. And I think you should go out and support him and, help keep his community vibrant. He doesn't pay me for any of this stuff, though. You can sponsor us, Lance, if you want to.
Yeah, right.
It understand what you're doing with it, whether it's investing, cracking, playing, collecting. Amen, brother. Like, I just think it hurts to see people do that. Now, if you're a stupidly wealthy person like Rudy, and he just feels like on a Saturday night he wants to bust open a box of Urza's Saga,
yeah,
dude, I'm all about watching it with you.
Let's do a draft with a $15,000 box of cards.
Dude, if I hit the lottery, and I would draft only with collector boosters, and it would be free entry for everybody. And just come on in. We're gonna draft this shit and have fun with collector boxes.
No rare drafting, you bitches.
No, I mean, hell, at that point, why would I even care? Go ahead and rare draft, because usually rare drafting makes it so you don't play well.
Yeah, so you don't win. Yeah.
But I mean, that's sort of the point. Is it's based on economic strata and whatnot. People wanted to seem to have the ability to have it all. They want to crack it. They want to make money. They want they want it all. They want the hot chick that's a 12 on a scale to 10. That just doesn't exist. They want the thing. They want their cake and eat it too. However you want to put it. So, have a reasonable and responsible approach to Magic. Have an understanding about yourself and be honest with yourself. I think you see so many people that are just not honest with themselves about things. I even on occasion will get a little drunk and say, I feel like cracking some shit. And I know when I head downstairs to grab stuff off my sealed shelf, I'm about to lose money. And I say that to myself when I grab it. I'm like, I don't care. And then I go up and open it anyways.
That's one of the things for me is doing that financial part of it. That's a huge drive for me. Like right now, I've got 2 collector blister packs. It was $22 shipped for Ikoria collector blister. I know there's a 75% chance I open that up and I make money off it. So that's one of the great things I love about Magic as well, is that there are some of those really high value situations. Whereas if you do it just right, getting into the game of opening product, that you can do it well enough that you can turn a little bit of profit off it. And I'm one of those guys. I've got 2 eBay stores. I do one with my investing partner and one for my personal stuff. And it's great to be able to turn things around and get a higher value off it than if I went down to my LGS and got the bad stroke from the Goblin King that runs the store. You know, I'd rather sell directly to the end user that's going to put it in the commander deck instead of selling it to some guy who's going to make another profit, selling it to some other guy that's going to then put it in his deck.
Oh, I love that, Savannah. I am living the lie, Bob. So, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
there are things.
The souls. Yeah, put the blister packs of Time Spiral Remastered right away, Bob.
Oh, by the way, for those of you that didn't get to see this because we accidentally deleted the footage that we were, doing mass recordings of all the rest. Do you remember, Pat? How good were the rest of those Time Spiral packs out of those blisters, Pat?
Yeah, okay. That is one of those situations where you
so
open
out of five blister packs.
I gotta say one was good. So
yeah, the one I opened for $40. Everything else was less than like $2.
Oh, absolutely. Literally. Oh, sweet dreams, Savannah. Take care.
What? That's really disturbing, Coach. Really disturbing. Good night, Savannah. Why do you guys want to see my pain?
Here, how about this?
You guys.
All right.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. See what you've done? We need to end the stream because we're going into silly territory now. I feel like there's going to be something painful about to happen here.
Oh, no, not that. Let's do one of those. All right. So.
Don't do it. You're a young man. You have the rest of your life ahead of you. He did it.
It's okay. I found a good deal. I'm actually getting more of these. So, let's see what we get out of this guy here.
I hope you get a Winota. No, I have nothing to open, Coach. I already did it, and we blew it. You blew it.
Cat token, followed by Fire Prophecy, Night Squad Commando, Prickly Marmoset, a land that is Dismal Blackwater. Ooh, dismal indeed. Chittering Harvester.
Brutal card.
Swallow Hole. Mountain. Always a good card. Who doesn't like mountains? Okay. Frontier Warmonger for our commander slot. That's a little bit of a bummer. Yadaro. Also another bummer. Gyruda, not too bad, but also not too good. Cavern Whisperer. Insatiable Hemophage. Snapdax. Dorat. And a Trumpeting Gnar.
Were you just trying to prove my point, Pat?
That is exactly it, Bob.
That was painful. That hurt me to watch that. It hurt me to see that.
Now that's why we don't go ahead, and you are not supposed to open a sealed product, even if you get it at a good price. If you just get that sealed, it's worth more not opening it. It's a gamble.
Absolutely. See, you just killed Schrodinger's cat.
Yes, you proved there was poison. It was good poison still.
There's a lot more poison than live kitties.
Yes, that's the takeaway.
That should be our T-shirt.
Live kitties.
So, yeah, that was a Chuck Norris in the hoofta. Yeah. And see, he's made me want to open some shit, but I don't even have anything. I'm not opening that invasion pack. I've done open everything I got to open. And I'm not saying don't open stuff, right? Just be honest with yourself while you're opening it. You know what? I have to point this out. Total random, completely random left field Bob here. Lance, that thing on Island, your short on Islands was funny as hell. If all of you have not gone out and watched that, watch it. Yeah.
Okay, also,
that was crazy.
Dave. I've been watching some of his stuff. I've been in talks with him. The timing stuff is terrible. Same thing with a couple other people, but we're working on getting a few other creators in here from time to time. And 8th place Dave, that guy makes some really funny Magic content.
Is that the guy that does like it's near mint? Well, except for this little missing corner, it's near mint except for it's been run over by a car.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
That hold the card together.
it's a near mint Black Lotus except for it's a giant growth.
Yeah. Except for it's actually 2 cards. Haysha Oasis. Yeah.
Is that the one where he makes a bunch of like card houses and stuff
out
of it?
Like a dog house out of those.
Yeah. He's good. You're talking with him?
Yeah.
I actually talked with Edwin, the magic engineer, and I probably pissed him off at this point. That's why he's not responding anymore. He said he would try to look at coming onto our show, but I'd love to have him on. There's lots of people, of all the people that probably rub me the wrong way, he's not one of them. I think I could totally hang out with him. No offense, love you, Rudy, but I think in reality, I'd probably have much more fun hanging out with Edwin than Rudy. Rudy just lives in a different stratosphere than I do. That's an interesting question. If you could hang out with any Magic the Gathering personality, and don't be flattering just for us here on the stream, who is it? Who in the community would you like to hang out with most? Like Josh Lee Kwai or Kenobi or the Prof or Perp or Joey Moss or BBD or Pause, or who would you like to hang out with most?
So I've got to say, Bob, I'd love to chill with you for an evening. I think going out, having a steak, drinking some nice beers, having some fun, that would be a great night.
Oh, I'm far better at home. We could drink some fancy beers and do some steaks here at the house. I'm more of a homebody. I hate being out in public as much. Not that I really hate public. I just hate, elbows and driving.
I'm hanging out with Pause every once in a while. We're kind of in talks for the next time we're hanging out. It's always super fun. We play some great Magic. I enjoy a lot of the different creators that we get to talk with. If I had to choose one, probably Pleasant Kenobi. I think I'd have a fun time hanging out with that guy.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like it. I think I would. I think that would be the one that I would pick too. But I'll be honest, Edwin would be right up there. I would love to hang out with Matt Castor, I think, as well, as long as he talks more than he does on the round table. Dual Brain seems like he'd be fun to hang out with, like in person. Yeah, I would love for you to come over. BBD, lots of people like that. Yeah. But I'm far better here in my own house. It's a nice house. And we don't have to drive after drinking. It's big enough. We could, plenty of places for people to sleep. And my Magic's all here. And it's easier to play a game. And I'm the adult in the house. But yes, I would love to have people over here, chilling here, rather than going out in public and paying ridiculous amounts for beers. I'd rather buy fancier beers and drink them here than go out and drink crappier beers at the same price.
What's
not real good at
airport near you?
Cleveland Hopkins Airport. 15 minutes. Maybe 20. I think it's just CLE. I think so. Yeah, I wanted to go pause, but 8 days was just a little too long for me to take that kind of a pause. No pun intended. Out of my life. What?
140. That ain't
How
bad
much?
at all.
How much?
140 from Burlington to Cleveland.
That's not bad. Akron's not terribly far either.
It
Hey,
says,
I don't think I can get Sherry to buy into me having a ton of people here.
yeah, 250 round trip for me. That ain't bad.
Check out Akron. It's maybe 45 minutes from here.
That ain't bad.
That's what she said. Pause. But no, I mean, I would love to hang out with more people, like for reals. And I think many of you would be surprised that I'm very WYSIWYG. What you see here is going to be pretty much the same dude that you're going to get in my house or at work or pretty much any place. I swear more, not at work, but I'm generally the same guy, same stubborn, say stuff people don't like, but I try to give you the best I can. Car trip, Jesus, that would be long.
No.
Well, Lance, if Lance says he talks less in person, that's Cothern Cards. We'll just have to bring you out of your shell. I have had a board gaming group for years, and we get together, and there was up to like 72 people in our group, and we've had as many as like up to 28 people at one time in the house. All playing board games, which is a nightmare. It's like herding cats.
Pause. The driving portion of it from my house to pick up Pause and BBD and drive all the way to Cleveland would be about maximum 11 hours. 12 hours. 12 hours
way?
One way.
Ouch.
Bro, I drove from Connecticut to Wyoming and back.
Yeah, I drove. I drove from here to Las Vegas straight 33 hours.
Oh,
no, never again. Dude, I've driven so many times across this country when I was in the military. I drove from Biloxi, Mississippi, which is down on the Gulf Coast, to Virginia, back to Biloxi, up to Grand Forks, North Dakota, all in one trip. Got a flat tire in North Carolina on the truck. It was miserable. I got poison ivy, so I was driving from Arkansas all the way up to North Dakota in my underwear with calamine lotion all over me in the front of the U-Haul.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's brutal. I've driven all over the place. And so I'm kind of not so drivey anymore.
Or take a bus. Shit, man.
No. Buses are miserable. Trains are miserable. Plane,
I love
baby.
trains. Meet me. Oh, yeah. That's my jam.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Put me on a plane. I'm old enough that I'm like, get off my lawn. I want to be in a plane.
That's also a good point. Almost the same price. $250 round trip from Burlington to Cleveland and back. $250. All right. Now imagine if I had to drive and worry about, park my car and, driving out of state. Ooh, what if something happens? Nah, fuck that.
It's just a time. A period. I mean, inevitably, in that long of a drive, you're going to hit construction somewhere along the road.
Mm-hmm.
Plus weather and no. I'm good with short flights.
24 hours of being in a car.
Yeah, no. I've done enough like marathon treks across this country multiple times, and I'm good with not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
God bless you younger people that have not had that joy. And I used to enjoy it, actually. It's at one point, but after doing crisscrossing the country so many times in a car, no, I'm good. I'm done. I don't even like driving down to the store anymore. It's like, somebody's going to piss me off on the road. It just happens. You get bitter, jaded. I don't know how we got off that subject.
Cheaper to buy Domino's if you pick it up at the store versus delivery. because
But if you all can pressure Sherry into agreeing to have a BobCon, maybe not 2022, but maybe BobCon 2023, would probably be more in line, because I think COVID numbers are spiking again. But you're gonna have to convince Sherry. Yeah, she runs my life. I have to ask Mama for permission. So, it's her house. I don't want her to be upset at me.
Well, I see you got pulled up over here some Double Masters VIP.
Yeah, so we got way off the track by the time I pulled this up. So my point was, we're talking about this sort of lull. It's hard. It's, I guess, exciting to a degree, and the curiosity of wanting to crack new Capenna. But keep this in your sights, folks. Right? Remember, these were what, $100 a year ago, something like that. Like, I don't remember exactly how long ago. We'll go to 1 year. So 1 year ago, $114, 180. So, we're saying that Double Masters was straight juice. And don't we wish we had bought more of that for $100? So keep your eye on the ball. Double Masters is around the corner, right? From what I understand, they said July, right? Am I wrong, Pat? Do you recall?
I think
Pat must have stepped away. I think it's in July. I think it's beginning of July is released. So that means that probably in about a month, we're going to start seeing spoilers for this, for Double Masters 2022. Yeah, there we go. July 8th. I got a friend who's got a birthday around there. So, this is going to be the hot, I believe. We'll start finding out in about a month just how crazy Tinfoil Hat Bob is. And I've been preaching this, God, for probably making you guys sick of hearing it from me by now. Yes, I am friends with an entire country, Lance. But actually his birthday is on the 4th of July, so it's I think it's going to be the special set for the year, right? And I believe in focusing your money on the thing which is going to bring you the most joy, which by most people's standards, they like the heat. They like the cards out of Double Masters. If you put packs just lined up, one pack each of the entire 2020 lineup, including collector packs and regular packs, not VIP packs, because that's not fair. But if you put, fine, put the VIP pack on there too, because it's a pack. And if you didn't even attach financial value to any of it, people would be picking up the VIP pack. It's the most fun to bust open. And outside of that, Double Masters, I think Double Masters draft boosters are actually more expensive than any other collector booster except for Commander Legends. But they're close. I think Double Masters 20 or Double Masters is let's see, Double Masters. I know like the 3-pack was like $90. Draft booster. They only have 3 packs? Come on. $30. It says as low as 32. So it's actually $33. Right? So if you laid them all out, this is probably going to be the one that people pick up the most. And that's a draft pack. It's at the price of most collector packs. And that was, I remember these being what, $10 a pack? Wasn't it something like that? I think I bought the 3 packs for like $30, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back and look. But if they keep in line with this, this is what's giving me the whole, this should be the juice pack for the year.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the heat's going to be. It would be insane in my mind if they would follow up such a smash hit with the Poopy Pants product.
Yeah, and they have all sorts of area to run with reprints here, and new cards as well. They can put a lot of really good cards into this product. They can really juice it up. They can do all sorts of great stuff with it.
I don't
And
think I think they're all reprints. I don't think there's any new cards in Masters products. I think every Masters product is pure reprints.
okay.
But that doesn't mean they can't make new versions of something that's already existed out there you didn't think of. Liliana, Jace, Snappy,
Right.
Imperial Seal, Horsemanship. I mean, anything's fair game for a Masters product. So, it's going to be the special product. I would say you're really going to have to twist my nipples to get money out of me at this point to pull anything else out of my wallet for Magic until I see spoilers for Double Bubble Masters.
I'm just pulling up a screen here for what comes out of the previous Double Masters series that makes us so excited for the next products coming out. Now, here's just a little snippet off of some of the stuff you can get out of the previous Double Masters series. Now, Monocrypt, the regular one, not even the foil version, you're looking at $170. Force of Will, $110 plus. Mox Opal, you're looking at a good 70 plus range. Chrome Mox, same deal. Blight Steel, well over $70. Doubling Season, so many of these huge hit cards that you can get out of the previous series. And if they do something similar in this coming one, phenomenal looking product.
And remember, there's all kinds of cards out there that people don't even really, keep on the top of their head, like Food Chain that can be reprinted, and just things that are not on the reserve list that are older cards that are eligible to be put in these things that people play, and they're just relatively expensive. All the Eldrazi are starting to creep back up there again. Snapcaster hasn't been printed in a hot minute. That's a very playable card. Liliana is seeing more favor in Modern. I wouldn't even be surprised, to be quite honest, if we saw the Wandering Emperor printed again. It's pretty quick, but it would be a little surprising because they would have to get the print run out there pretty fast. But Dockside Extortionist could be a target for it. I doubt Rag of Hand, but he could be. I would think that they would kind of wait for at least a couple of years before putting these things on a Masters list. It would feel kind of weird. Dockside certainly is in that ballpark, though, ready for a reprint. Teferi, they don't have to be $100 cards, but $20 cards feel pretty good opening in a pack.
Hey, Bob.
Yo.
I'd love to go pack for pack, me and you on Cothern's channel. How's that? I'd love to put in one pack versus your one pack. We just do it gentleman's bet. I bet you one card that my pack beats your pack, and I'd love to see it over on Lance's channel. Would you be up for that?
You bet me one card. I don't understand. I'd be willing to do a pack battle with you. You mean take another Jeweled Lotus from you?
Yeah. I love doing that kind of stuff. From time to time, I think it'd be enjoyable. I'd like to see it over on his stuff. Would you be up for doing that? Lance as well?
Pack battles? Yeah, he does them twice a week.
Yeah.
I'll do a pack battle with you. Do you have a set that you're thinking about? You want to do New Capenna?
Oh, no. I think we'll just go ahead and leave that one kind of in the dust.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind doing New Capenna set battles. I don't know. I mean, do you even have any New Capenna that's not spoken for, Lance? New Capenna set? We could do it Monday. What day are you thinking about doing
it? Me or him?
You. He does Mondays and Thursdays. Oh, hopefully he'll have some on Thursday.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, sure. There you heard it here. It's the the final countdown, and we'll do it Thursday if he's got new Capenna set boosters. Maybe we could even talk offline, Lance, and lock in a few packs for Pat and I to do some pack battles on new Capenna, so people can, Coach, if he's still watching, can witness live my pain on Cothern cards of cracking packs. So that would be fun. Sure. I don't mind. Like I said, I don't. There are times and places when I give the the advice about cracking packs, it's more for like general advice. I crack packs. Clearly, I have tons of binders full of cards and boxes full of cards. You guys have seen much of my collection. So, just I'm very real with myself when I'm opening, why I'm opening them and what I'm opening them for. I'm not living a lie. So, anyways.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I have hooked Artie Coy on some of. I introduced him to Cothern cards, and boy, I've created a monster there. He did beat me in the last pack battle. I have to admit defeat on that one. He took me down on that one. But I appreciate everybody showing up and giving us your time tonight. I say this, and I don't mean it dismissively in any way. Your time is the most valuable thing that you own, and I am grateful that you give it to us on Saturday nights and chat with us here. I love talking Magic, but my throat is starting to get a little sore, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to get going here.
Yes.
Thank you all very much for being here tonight.
Pause, RD, Cothern, Savannah for coming in earlier. You've all been wonderful hanging out with us here tonight. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk with you and to you. And Bob, as always, this has been wonderful. I look forward to the next opportunity to hang out with you all. And if you're catching this at a later time, go ahead and feel free to comment below. And if you haven't seen Bob and his friend Matt over on their channel, like and subscribe on some of their videos. And until then, we'll see you. Be well and take care.